2021, a must learn, something that Anders has really brought to light. The 14-year-old phenom. I call him the FIFA savant. He has not lost a weekend league game up to this point, and you can see that Gomes started feeling the pressure a little bit. Being down 3-1, you get to being a little more aggressive. You lose your patience a little bit, and you're in trouble. Look at these mix-ups, though. You're seeing step overs, fake shots, back into step overs. You just can't miss from there, and that was really the big difference with being able to finish, being clinical in the final third.
That is very true. Now, at the very beginning of the game, Marcus Gomes got the first goal. He made it 1-0. But from there, Nayla managed to put 7 past him over the 2 legs. And one thing that Nate said was the new generation are coming through. And Mike, Nayla really showed not just a performance which you think, wow, he's impressing, a very mature performance as well.
Well, he had to make a comeback. A lot of people forget about that. He was down a goal early on, was able to battle back into this match, and then from there it was the showcase of skills on skills on skills. And you see the combos here. Another elastic go into the scoop turn, gives you that angle, finesse shot, Cruyff being Cruyff. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. But you see it right there. Look at the final score. Shots from Marcus Gomes, shots on frame. Yeah, you see Naylor, he's just more efficient. He's been more efficient with his opportunities, and that's kind of what FIFA's all about. And then making the correct defensive reads. And I feel for Gomes to a certain degree because there was multiple instances where, and you heard both native traders talking about this, where they would have scored the goal because Gomes made the turn, but Naylor was in his head, and he anticipated that Marcus was going to have one additional touch to the left or one additional touch to the right. And I always look at FIFA being a game almost like chess, where you're playing your opposition. It's very much so mental about who can outread the other person or who's a quicker reader if you're going to be a novelist. Use that as an insert here analogy.
Now, it's not all too negative for Marcus. He does drop down into that losers bracket, but we can have a look at how these results do affect the competition right here as Nayla. He goes through to that winners final where he will meet up with either Marco or Greek Freak, who go head-to-head in our winners bracket semi-final next up. Now, I did mention, Mike, that Nayla has set that bar very, very high right now. All the other competitors on the winners bracket and in the losers bracket as well, because ultimately they want to meet the winner later on tomorrow in the competition. They're all going to be watching him thinking, wow, I need to up my game here.
And it's interesting because our next matchup, we're going to have Greek Freak and Marco. And the way that Naylor played, I feel, is also how Greek Freak often plays, where he sits a little bit deeper. And then his attacking free flow is easy on the eyes. So I'm wondering if we're going to see more of the same, where Marco has a little more of that balance.
Now, that matchup is coming up very, very shortly. 2 players going head-to-head. Something else that I want to talk about just very, very quickly on this one, Mike, is these age-old seasoned pros, Marcus and Marco. I mean, they have been here for a while, and Nate and Treaders were talking about the new generation are coming through. Do you think that's the case?
It's hard to say. There's definitely a mix and match between when you have this experience and you have a big name and you've built that up, there's more pressure on you, but also comes down to motivation. Are you still the same hungry player you were 3 years ago or 2 years ago, and being able to keep that same focus level, because you have to have every small margin on your behalf if you want to win events, if you want to get yourself into the finals. They're obviously still have it in the tank. They're here today. This is the top 8 players in this region. So there's no debate if these guys are still competing to be one of the best, if not the best from this region. They definitely haven't fallen off, but I think that that's something that you have to build into the equation, is that it takes so much of your mental strength and fortitude to compete at the highest level. And it's a matter of, do you still have that, or are you okay with doing just enough? Are you okay with just having a great weekend league performance? Are you okay with just creating content? Because there's always somebody grinding that is saying, I'm not okay with it. I'm ready. I'm next up. I'm hungry. I'm ready to eat for breakfast. I want lunch. I want dinner. I want the appetizers. Give me the dessert. You know what? You don't even need the water. I'll take your water. I want your beverage of choice. Whatever you're going to give to me, I'm drinking it. I'm eating it. Everything is being cleared. Your mother would be proud. I don't know if you grew up with a family like that, where whatever gets served on the table growing up, maybe this is the Italian side, whatever comes out, you better eat it. If you put it on your plate, you're eating all of that. You chose to have it, you're serving, it's done.
I've had the pleasure of seeing you do that, Mike, at various restaurants across the world on lots of different occasions. And these players will be wanting to do the same as well. Right, stay exactly where you are. Stick with us. We've got another huge matchup coming up very, very shortly. Marco taking on Greek Freak in our winners bracket semi-final number 2. So make sure you stay tuned. We'll see you in a minute.
South America, West Asia, Europe, North America, and now Oceania. It's time for the first FIFA Global Series qualifier of the region. The FIFA 21 Heroes of Oceania will fight for cash and glory between the 9th and 10th of January. Now it's your chance to watch the best players in the region at work and learn new techniques and tactics from them and the analysts. During the broadcast, you will also have the opportunity to earn swap tokens. So, see you on twitch.tv/EA Sports FIFA. The Global Series 21 Oceania Qualifier 1 is brought to you in part by Turtle Beach.
Welcome back to the FIFA 21 Global Series Oceania Qualifier number 1. I'll let you in on a little secret. Every single time I hear that voiceover, I get a little bit jealous because my voice isn't as deep. It doesn't have as much impact, but one man's voice that does, it is Mike Labelle, and he's joining us here over the next 2 days. And Mike, this region, it can provide lots and lots of great quality FIFA 21 action. We've already seen 8 goals from that first matchup right here, and next up we've got 2 pros going head to head. Marco taking on Greek Freak, and we know with Marco, we've seen him at plenty of tournaments, we've interviewed him, we've seen what he's capable of. This is a great opportunity for him to show that he is still king of this region.
And he's also had a team switch, so we always knew him as previously being with FootWiz. And Marco and Gomes and even Jamie have really been the household names really running this division. Really well known. He's performed internationally, he's performed domestically. You see on screen, obviously from Australia, 4231, Juventus is a club, FIFA 07, which makes me feel great. That means you got a little bit of age to you, which he doesn't necessarily have that, but at least he started playing at a similar time period because you always make references that I'm getting old. And I don't even think I'm getting old, all right? I'm just saying. We're not aging over here, we're doing great.
I mean, I didn't bring it up. I've not brought it up just yet, but here we are, what, an hour into it, and you brought it up. So, you know, you're looking good. I mean, 2020 was a difficult year for all of us. I think I aged about 10 years over the space of 1 year, but you need to drop the skincare routine, Mike, because that's what we all want. I see it on your Twitch. I see it on these broadcasts here. You're looking good, or is it just the lighting?
I mean, I'm trying. I'll tell you what is helping me. The lights might help me look a little more tan. I am super pale. I did not go outside at all during 2020. I haven't been going outside in 2021. It's winter season in New York City. It's definitely cold outside. It's cold inside. But I'm happy that we have, you know, health, wealth, and prosperity been like the 3 that I'm pushing. I mean, I talked about mental health earlier when you were talking with Nate and Treaders, and the importance of that, especially when we're living through this time period with the pandemic, that you're doing things that make you happy and that you're talking to people that you need to. I think it's pretty normal with the life cycle that everybody, it doesn't matter who you are, you can be the most positive person, the most uplifting person. You're going to go through different things in life that are going to include hardship, and it's going to have you emotionally up and down at times. So it's really important that we speak about that. I think this has been a great trend over the last few years, that people have become much more vocal with how they're actually feeling inside, because for many, many years, I would say was the standard, you just keep that here. And therefore, a lot of people think that it's just them and you feel isolated. So I'm really happy that that's a message that's become a lot more vocal and also just more mainstream in general, because it's so important for the longevity of us.
That is very, very true. Powerful words there, Mike. Thank you for that. One thing you did say, health, wealth, and prosperity. I wouldn't mind a little bit of sunshine as well. And 2 people that definitely have got sunshine, it's their summer right here, Nate and Treaders. They are at opposite ends, I think, of Australia, very far away from us, very far away from each other as well. Might not be opposite ends, but Australia is massive, all right? And, I mean, Nate, for you, it must be nice to have the light shine brightly on this region, because we know how good this region can be. Marco taking on Greek Freak, this will be another example of that.
Absolutely huge. Obviously, as mentioned, Marco having played for FootWiz in the past, Greek Freak now representing FootWiz. It's a very tasty affair for a few different reasons.
It is indeed. Right, let's jump straight into the predictions. We all got it wrong, so we're all 0-1 right now. So another one, and we would be out of the double elimination. So, Treaders, I'm going to let you kick off with this. Who are you going for?
I think I'm going to lock in Greek Freak. I think the new blood is just bringing something a little bit special, and I think the player lock that Greek Freak utilizes quite a lot will be a little bit too much for Marco to handle, and that's saying something.
Oh, gosh. I'm not sure about that one. I don't know. Nate, who are you going for?
I feel like I'm going to get in trouble either way from either of these competitors, but I will also go with Greek Freak alongside Anezar. Those two have been the best players from this region early days.
Wow. All right. Two for Greek Freak. Mike LaBelle, I'm asking you, are you making it 3-0?
Well, I was thinking about hopping on the Greek Freak bandwagon, but no, we're shifting the other direction. We're going with Marco. We're going to represent for the old school fellas, the guys that have been around the community for a minute. He's ready to put on for us. He saw what happened to Gomes. He doesn't want that to repeat. Let's go, Marco.
Yes, I'm with you, Mike LaBelle. Let's do it for the old school competitors right there. Nate, Treaders, it is over to you guys. Marco taking on Greek Freak here at the Oceania Qualifier number 1.
Thank you very much, Kyle. Thank you, Mike. Welcome to the winner bracket semi-final number 2. My name is Nate PTK, or Nate Patrick, and I'm alongside Jay Treaders. And Treaders, this is the matchup of the day. I think it's fair to say Marco, now with Atlantide Wave, formerly of FootWiz, versus the man, can you say that he's taken his spot almost in Greek Freak?
Yeah, it's a little bit of rivalry potentially developing between these two competitors. We know that Marco was he left to free agency for FootWiz. The signings weren't directly aligned, so it wasn't a direct replacement. It was more a necessity for the eClub World Cup. But in saying that, Greek Freak has taken Marco's spot in that roster after representing FootWiz for what feels like forever, as long as I can remember.
We need to put the respect on Marco's name here in the winner bracket semi-final number 2 between Marco and Greek Freak. Early ball into the area. Vieira getting on the end of that for Greek. But you will be familiar with Marco again, maybe used to hearing the FootWiz at the front. Is that no longer? One last time. Atlantide Wave is the new esports org that he is representing. He, alongside Marcus Gomes, are the two, what do we want to call them, Treaders? Godfathers of the scene, something like that, ever since modern FIFA esports was established. You have heard those two names so often. If you haven't heard of Greek Freak, as I said before with Nayla, you need to wake up, because it is a new day with new talent coming through. Pass out to the left, back to the center. This is Mbappe. A few step overs, back onto the left, going near post, but unable to apply the finish. Edison is there. Corner swung in directly, repelled and out for a throw. But Greek Freak, after biding his time almost, if I am correct in saying this, had some offers for the E-League Season 3, but couldn't get on his preferred console and decided to turn it down, which I had a Twitter discussion with him about, some disagreeing, and that's absolutely fine. We like the discussion when it comes to FIFA esports. I think the overwhelming point from that discussion, Treaders, was that it was quite unbelievable he could not get into the E-League on his preferred console, considering he is arguably the #1 competitor in this region in FIFA esports, as he was at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just a player of the highest class, and everybody that knows him in the region and that follows the region closely knows that he is in the top 2 players in the region. The new brigade of Anezar and Greek Freak have showed up and showed out at every event that they have competed in. The PlayStation boys really just comfortable on their home console, and they spend so much time on the game. It's just unbelievable. Greek Freak opting to take a gap year to gamble on himself, believing that he has what it takes to become a professional FIFA player, and you've got to say that gamble has paid off so far.
If nothing else, it's paid off in terms of his Twitch viewership. If you find him on that platform, you will stay there and not go. He is as competitive as they come. As Mbappe going across the face, off the post and in. We've talked about Greek Freak. There is the end product. A lovely finish and the early lead for that man.
And just lovely build-up created from that player lock. He used the player lock to create a diagonal run, forcing Marco to make a challenge, make a decision, and that execution on the finish with the step overs and the composure from Greek Freak is just too good.
Trying the over-the-top through ball, but not getting any change. Good to see Nick Pope in goal as well for Greek Freak. Always comforting when I see somebody in a professionals team that I have in my own. We've spoken about him on past broadcasts. You might be questioning why Nick Pope. He's worth all of about 1,000 coins. He's got the length, which isn't actually how tall he is IRL, but don't worry about that. And the Burnley fans are loving him, and there's been a new bunch of fans joining on there. A budget edition, arguably better than any of the higher priced goalkeepers you can get for your team.
Well read there by Greek Freak. And then immediately using that player lock to draw the player short. We saw Marcus Gomes struggling to bring the player short using the RB, and Greek Freak gets around that and avoids using the bridge or any skill moves by using the player lock. And Marco has to either commit to marking the player on player lock or just watch Greek Freak's player just dribble his way through his defense.
Through ball here, Neymar, an excellent opportunity, but just takes one touch too many. And it's that man, Nick Pope, coming out to make the save in that FootWiz kit. And if you want to get your hand on some of these esports kits, all you have to do is log in. You've been offered them on a few occasions. If you have logged in, that FootWiz one getting a lot of use. And I always see it on my Twitter feed, Treaders. I'm not sure about you, that people seem to have a good time packing things in that kit too.
Seems to be the kit that brings all of the luck. Perhaps equip that kit and see if it brings you some luck. Maybe brings you a little bit of luck coming into the Team of the Year season. And I know I might even try it out if my pack luck isn't what I want. And Greek Freak just running, using player lock to run his player offside in that situation.
We said in the past, Gang, and you can see it on display here, he's one of the few competitors that really seems to have mastered that new ability where you do, for the first time, manually control a player that does not have the ball before you can sort of set them off on a direction. Good dribbling into the area, and the tackle from behind, bringing the man down. A yellow card shown to Joe Gomes. Here we go. An excellent opportunity to equalize. We'll look at the head movement. And the keeper makes the save. Nick Pope again there for Greek Freak. Marco obviously a little upset, but that is a massive boost to the ego as we hit half-time, Treaders.
Yeah, that's quite an extraordinary sequence of events. Greek Freak opting to just hack down Marco's man as he made his way through on goal, and the decision paid off. Greek Freak backing himself to make the save in the penalty situation, and I gotta say, he gets away with one. That tackle was only a yellow card. That should definitely have been sent off. There was no intent on getting the ball there. He just wanted to break his legs. And I think that player will be spending a little bit of time at the physio after the game.
You called it. In semi-final number 1, Treaders, you can be more aggressive with your tackles. You are unlikely to receive red cards, or sometimes even yellows, sometimes fouls not even given. And then he's able to make the penalty save. Must be loving life right now. We've spoken about the potential changing of the guard. Marcus Gomes has already made the tweet. Give him a follow if you're not already. Devastated with his return to broadcast events. Again, it's not job done for him. He'll be back. And full credit to Neymar for some brilliant attacking play. Here, Greek Freak getting the lead in the first half as Marco tries to come back into it. He is one of the best manual dribblers in the region. He's not good enough. to beat that man, Nick Pope, with the save and collecting it on the rebound. I think the heavy touch coming from Neymar.
Wow, that was some opportunity created there by Marco. The execution to create the space, and that's another chance gone begging for him. But the pressure just piling on Greek Freak, who's not able to control possession at the moment, and it's just creating more and more pressure as Marco comes again and is unable to capitalize on that next opportunity.
Greek Freak has had that pause queued for a while now until he's willing, or it eventuates that the ball goes out of play, or we have a foul and a free kick. We'll just keep it going. Man on the overlap is Mbappe. Ball back inside. Neymar dribbling this way and that. Lovely from Greek Freak, who makes it 2-0. And the dribble master is getting dribbled past right now.
What a goal that was from Greek Freak, creating space with his dribble moves. Marco having to bite in a certain direction, and does. And Greek Freak so good when he gets his chances, and he finishes with absolute aplomb.
It's got to be the biggest water bottle I've ever seen from Greek Freak. Good to stay hydrated. Maybe a little bit of a theme as well, with a nice dark room, which you sometimes see on his stream. Marco with the lights on, and you can see there in the background, sitting in his E-League chair, your throne if you will. He is the champion. Sydney FC are the champions. Might not have got any prize money for doing his job, but he got a chair, so not all bad. This is dribbling into the area. Marco unable to cut it back. Good defending from Greek Freak. You've got a sight of him in the Summer Cup series. He didn't progress as far as he wanted to, but certainly started to announce himself to a wider audience. That's a lovely through ball. Felix standing his man up, but the pass cannot find a man.
Rabona fake to create the little bit of space for the cutback, but Marco had his centre back just waiting for him to make the pass. The anticipation, brilliant, but you know what else is brilliant? Marco's left stick dribbling, using the agile dribbling feature, holding down R1 as he receives the ball. And Greek Freak anticipating well, but unable to win the ball back in that situation.
Marco wanting pressing to come back into this contest, but knows he has a second leg still to come. That's why he's happy holding possession. Maybe trying to get Greek Freak to press out a little deeper. I don't think it's going to happen. You'll see him use those defensive mids to try and cut off passing lanes. Felix well intercepted. Gomes getting it clear. And with Marco not pressing particularly, Greek Freak's able to calmly play it out from the back.
And that player lock once again coming in incredibly handy for Greek Freak when he wants to draw the player short. Unfortunately for him in that situation, unable to create enough space for him to get in behind, with Marco reading that well. And I remember talking to you in E-League Season 2 about Marco being probably one of the best mechanical players that we have ever seen, with his left stick ability to control the game on the left stick. Just simply incredible. No matter the meta, no matter what play style he may be using, he will always be a threat because of how good he is with his controller.
Was wondering whether I'd bring this up, Treaders, but the last time I played Marco in Weekend League, you know what, we can't hold that thought, because Greek Freak into the area. Save me, Greek Freak, please. I can't, because Marco gets it back. I'll keep it short. The 8-0 thumping, all goals with this one-on-one dribbling that I could not defend, and then the GG message at the end. Cheers, Marco. Here he comes, surging inside, passing back Neymar. Well tackled. Moran getting it done for Greek Freak. Again, the deep defending It's there because he doesn't want to allow the through ball, and then backing himself with the one-on-one defending. We've talked about one-on-one dribbling, but the defending, if you can master it, practice it, it will pay off. Lovely through ball down the line. Cancelo bombing forward. 2-on-1 here in the middle. Ronaldo, time, space. But the defender making a nuisance of himself. Edison lobbing it up. He'll get it back. Marco with the shake of the head. Maybe wanted it to his fullback instead of his centre back.
And the over-the-top through ball from the goalkeeper. Just get it up the other end. The little bit of heart attack from that pass. And when you can win the ball back, why not? Send that ball up the other end and try and win it high up from your opponent.
Dying stages of this first leg. Will there be one more chance? You know the referees can be a little inconsistent with how much stoppage time they allow. Greek Freak says, how about I make your decision for you? It is a 2-goal lead after that first leg. Excellent deep defending there, Treaders, from Greek Freak. Maybe a little bit like Marcus Gomes. Marco not doing a lot wrong whatsoever, but it is a game plan, a blueprint rolled out to perfection from Greek Freak.
And I was talking to Dylan, DW Dylan, before the match about what Greek Freak might try and do. And he said that Greek Freak generally plays a little bit more open, will play a little bit more attacking during his weekend league games. But when it comes to the big competitive events, we see him play quite a bit more conservative because he knows that any mistake he makes will be absolutely punished. And he makes so little mistakes on the big stage, and he uses player lock and his skill moves to minimize the mistakes. And that defending from Marco was a little bit questionable, trying to cover the far post, and Greek Freak more than happy to just say, well, if you're covering the far post with your player, well, I'll just smash it near post.
Are there any competitors on the FIFA esports scene, apart from Greek Freak, Shredders, you've seen utilize the player lock system this well?
Not quite at this stage. I imagine for some of the events, maybe later on tonight, we'll see the player lock absolutely utilized. But up to this point, from the events that I've watched, nobody has utilized it to the extent that Greek Freak does. In fact, I don't think if we had a counter, we'd be at least into the double figures, if not into the 30s. I think that every possession he gets, he is looking to use player lock instead of using the L1 and R1 buttons to trigger the runs, because of the fact that when you use L1 and R1, especially R1, you have the risk of activating the bridge skill move. And if you're under pressure when you're using the bridge skill move, you're simply just going to give the ball up. And when you're competing against a player of Marco's caliber, giving the ball up is simply not an option, especially when you're in a dangerous area.
The second leg underway. If you are just joining us, this is the winner bracket semi-final number 2. It is Greek Freak with the 2-0 lead. Nice and calm. But I mentioned one of the most competitive players in our region, and I dare say across the world. He is now representing FootWiz. Was able to have a chat with the team manager, Dan, about the move. More on that in a moment, because this is Marco trying to bring it back. Ball inside to Neymar. Lovely dancing, dribbling, and the slide tackle across to take it out for a corner. Marco takes it directly. In the one-on-one battle, we're still not sure which way it's going to go. But Mbappe, too strong, too pacey. And ball retained for Greek Freak. Dan, the manager from FootWiz, is saying that the history of their esports team has shown they love working from players from the Oceania region. They've had a lot of success doing so. He's got a ton of potential, he said about Greek Freak. He's got the attitude. He's got the coach as well. It's time for him to step up and demonstrate that potential with the backing of a huge esports org like Footwiz. This is Greek Freak. João Felix back to Vieira. Neymar back to Vieira again. Marco switching between those defensive mids and centre backs. So Greek Freak more than happy to keep it here, and you'll see him stop like that. Say, come and get me if you can, and then he'll use the space. R9 can't find a way through. But again, it's certainly got a large affinity in this part of the world, does Team Footwiz. Been great to see them pick up the talent. Maybe Greek Freak is going to have them represented at that E-World Cup. It feels like Treader's a long while away, but to be honest, 2021's already flying by. It'll come up nice and quick, and hopefully we can get some good representation from this region.
Yeah, absolutely. The more Australian and New Zealand players that we have representing those big teams, the better. It's, as we see Marco creating space of his own. Greek Freak has 3 players surrounding him, and Marco trying to fire off the shot, gets a lucky rebound and is able to convert the goal and start his comeback.
Straight back into it as well as Marco. No time to celebrate. The kickoff taken immediately from Greek Freak as well. Fortunate for sure, Marco with the rebound, but needs to be composed and alert with the finish. And it was lovely build up to drag those defenders in. If he didn't do that, it would have probably been a defender or 2 in the way. So it's game on. Greek Freak taking out the first leg, 2-0. Marco leading the second 1-0. Interesting player collision there. And once again, it's the stop and prop, if you like, from Greek Freak. If you like your Lord of the Rings, if you want him, come and claim him. Standing on the edge of the area. He does that because he wants the space in behind. He gets it here and applies the near post finish. The big fist pump and celebration. And that 2-goal lead is restored.
And that is immense build-up from Greek Freak. A couple of fortunate rebounds from Marco's challenges leading to that chance, but Greek Freak making the absolute most of the rebounds and converting incredibly well. We're seeing Greek Freak just being, dare I say the word that we use the most besides adapt, and just being so clinical. And interestingly, we see Greek Freak opt to not use the player lock and instead use the L1, and his center back went flying up the pitch. And that's just another risk when you're using player lock, when you're not using player lock. That's why I'm such a big fan of the feature and such a big fan of Greek Freak's game, even though he opted to not use it that time, considering the pressure he was under.
Here he is again with Ronaldo, and it's the near post once more. Make it 4-1. I always find it interesting with his celebrations. It actually looks a lot like when he concedes a goal. The same reaction. Almost looks to be in pain, in anguish, but that's how much it means to him. I said before, he's with Footwiz now. He's had the potential. Now he is truly demonstrating it on the big stage, ready to try and maybe claim that #1 spot from the man he's playing here in Atlantide, Marco.
And time again, Greek Freak just demonstrating that if anything is in question, just bet on yourself. Taking the risk, and the risk is paying off. A number of people have doubted him over the years, but the doubters get fewer and fewer as time goes on and the results get better and better. He's simply a joy to watch play FIFA. And just one of the best, if not the best competitor that Oceania has to offer.
Anezar might have something to say about that. He'll be coming up a little bit later. The 4-1 aggregate lead. We're still in the first half of this second leg. And if anything, Greek Freak has really asserted his dominance even further. not just in the goals that he scored, but with the weight of possession. And we've had it mostly in this area of the pitch, in this final third for Greek Freak. Playing some lovely passes right now. Happy to use that triangle on the left-hand side. Trying to get Marco, as we've said, to come out manually with his defenders. Well, look, he's done it there, but Walker making the interception as we get close to half-time. Surely Greek can't find a third in this game. Would make it a fifth on aggregate. Normally you'd see this cleared out of here, but Marco desperately begging for another possession, which will not come. Look at the possession. A very nice 69% for Greek Freak, asserting himself, displaying himself. Marco Treaders not doing a heck of a lot wrong, but what can you do? Indeed, what should he do in this position when his opponent is dominating the possession?
At the risk of sounding cliche, it's just a matter of Marco backing himself, being decisive when he's on the ball. There's a mistake that I'm seeing Marco make a couple of times now when he's turning over possession after he gets it. He's trying to turn with his player on the ball, but Greek Freak is applying quite a lot of pressure to the ball carrier, which means that when Marco makes a turn, he is at risk of turning directly back into the player, especially when he's using his cam on one of his cams on the ball.
We've seen Marco come back time and time again. There's a reason he's been a champion of the E-League of this region, making it all the way through to FIFA E-World Cups, making it through to Foot Champs Cups, progressing a lot further than some might realize. It always pains us a bit from this region when you see Australian and New Zealand competitors not really talked about as hot favourites. Well, I dare say, now that Marco's finally got the reputation he deserves as one of the premier FIFA esports competitors, his opponent may well receive the same title, quick smart, if this scoreline continues and he can advance through to the winner bracket final. Header using his two strikers, Neymar and Ronaldo. Sometimes it can be the simple football that works best, the 1-2 passes. That one a little bit more elaborate, out wider to Mbappe on the right-hand side. Looking for more Greek Freak. He loves to attack. Ronaldo on the left. Great save by Edison. One of the more traditional meta keepers, if you like. Getting two hands to it.
And we just saw quite a bit of elaborate attack there from Greek Freak, who's really coming into his own the longer these games go on. And we saw the same with Nayla. The further the game went on, the more his confidence grew, and the more we saw elaborate skill chains brought out and unorthodox ways of attacking. We're seeing Greek Freak just grow and grow into this contest. But Marco, so much skill at his disposal with the left stick and the right stick. None better in the region. But Greek Freak displaying his ability not only at the offensive end of the field, but also at the defensive end, as we see a counter-attack come now from Greek Freak.
Mbappe inside, dribbling across. That was a rather rash shot. You don't see those too often. The bridge doesn't come off. It's rebounding around. And hey, if you bridge too much, you might pull up with cramp. Lessons for you here on broadcast. First time I've seen that at an event, but maybe not the last. Pogba to Mbappe on the far side. Good challenge made, but Cancelo cannot hold possession. Like we said with Marcus Gomes, if you're a big Marco fan, and let me state again, there are so many Marco fans. These FIFA esports competitors, truly superstars in their own right, while our national football or soccer competition, the A-League, might not get much stardom, might not get any views. The FIFA esports competitors streaming on their respective platforms, here in events in front of millions, have such a big following. And it is fantastic to see the personalities and the stars get brought out. We love the game treaders, but we love the competitors behind the controllers.
Absolutely, and that's what it's all about. No matter the foot items that they're using, the thing that matters most is the competitors and their ability with the controllers and their ability to manipulate the game of FIFA to just their absolute will and to play the game at such a beautiful standard. As we see an offside flag raised against Marco. Marco needs to absolutely make the most of his possessions at this point of time. Otherwise, Greek Freak will seal this contest and be happy to play nice and defensive at this point in time.
The tackle doesn't do enough. Neymar, another sliding challenge, and no foul given. Much to Marco's disgust. I wouldn't mind a slow-mo replay of that one. We saw Greek Freak happy to give away a penalty before. I'm not sure if that was inside the area or not, but it matters not. Fair challenge, says the digital referee. As we tick on into the final 10 minutes of this second leg, Greek Freak has largely been in control. And let me tell you, it is no small feat taking down the champion, Footwiz Marco. We'll have to go back to the drawing board and maybe have a think about what he can do differently alongside Marcus Gomes on the recovery trail.
Absolutely, and we're seeing maybe, apologies for knocking the microphone, but maybe a little bit of overbridging there from Greek Freak. Again, we're still a little bit early into the cycle of FIFA 21 as Marco trying to create the last second chances with 2 minutes remaining in this contest. But Greek Freak able to win the challenge once again, displaying his defensive fortitude. And Greek Freak happy to keep possession, draw the press, and see this contest out.
Into the final seconds, it's been 4-1 for a while, and 4-1 it will remain. E-League teams, you didn't want him, but Greek Freak showing why he is arguably the strongest competitor in this region. Treaders, we don't know if there will be an E-League Season 4, but if there is, you hope some, if not all eyes are on that man. What a convincing victory.
Incredible performance there from Greek Freak. Had it all covered at both ends of the field. We saw the use of the player lock utilized to the absolute highest standard, and I don't think I saw him make a mistake using the player lock. Maybe one mistake. No one can be perfect, but that was an incredible performance and a little bit unorthodox towards the end. And hopefully he goes far in this tournament using that player lock, and we'll see other people make the adjustment to that play style.
You can see the safe smoke in the digital stands behind us. It must be FIFA esports, because you're not allowed to have fun at the soccer here in Australia. We had a lot of fun watching that game. Greek Freak defeating Marco 4-1. Back to you two on broadcast.
Nay, Treaders, thank you so much for that. Mike LaBelle, I mean, wow. We both went with Marco. We were both wrong in that one. It does seem more and more like the new generation, even though they are quite established themselves, they are definitely in control of this tournament right now, Mike.
I was going to say, I learned a few things in that matchup. Number one, we are seeing, I don't want to say it's a passing of the torch, but definitely a certain influence from the new guys. Number two is that Treaders clearly has dreams about player locks. I have never heard anyone more passionate about player locking in FIFA out of any person I've ever heard talk about the game. Like, don't get me wrong, new feature, and it can be extremely beneficial. We saw from Greek Freak, you saw what it means to them as well as celebrations. But Treaders and player lock, I think that they might be in some sort of relationship. We'll have to ask Treaders next time we get them in one of the forecasts. You see the second goal there from Greek Freak. And this has to feel a little bit bitter for Marco as well, because you could say that Greek Freak is maybe his replacement. He's at Footwiz, and he's got all the Footwiz kits on. He's getting a W here. You thought Marco was going to start the battle back. It still comes down to the same points that I've been making, especially after the first matchup. Is you got to take your opportunities. You get in the box, you got to work with it. And we're seeing a lot of bridge usage, beautiful ball roller, realigns, top corner, best corner, R9. And you see once again what it means to Greek Freak. This is what I talk about, that hunger. Classic bridge 101, beats it down on the near post. And at that point, 4-1, you had to say the game was over. Might have had some good fortunate situations with some of these slide tackles. We also saw a penalty kick save from Greek Freak. But that's what FIFA is all about. It comes down to small margins and those key moments. I always talk about how throughout a matchup, even if it's over the course of 2 legs, it often comes down to the massive situationals and scenarios and how you handle them. How you handle those situations, how you handle those scenarios. Do you take it with confidence? Are you feeling prominent? Are you seeing everything at the correct speed, or do you hesitate? Are you not as decisive as you need to be? And you can see the opportunities there. Marco made 5 and 5, 10-9. You see the efficiency. Only 1 goal for Marco. He really can't review his gameplay and be too upset outside of maybe missing the penalty kick. Maybe have some arguments about the referee or talk to the referee. I would send the referee a couple messages, text messages, emails. If you gave me his email, it's happening. Give me his phone number, random phone call. It's coming in.
I would not like to be on the end of that phone call from any of the competitors in the tournament right here. We can have a look at the bracket, how it shapes up now after that matchup right there. Greek Freak taking the win, which sets up our winner bracket final. Coming up next, Nayla AU taking on Greek Freak right there. Marco and Marcus Gomes, they drop down into the losers bracket. And Mike, this is going to set up an explosive final, isn't it? I mean, Nayla AU, they're going head-to-head. We can see the losers bracket right there. So we will get into some of those matchups quite soon, yes, later on in the broadcast right here. But it does set up an exciting winners bracket final. These two are going to be feeling extremely confident. You talked about wanting to be here on the winners bracket side. If they do continue, if they can continue on this form, these two going head to head, I mean, this is going to be some matchup, Mike.
I'm expecting there to be goals. What we're seeing is a big difference between the old school and some of the new school of players is these guys with Nayla and Greek Freak are a little more gifted, I would say, with some of the skill moves, especially within the box, some of that additional creativity. And then the old school guys with Gomes or Marco, they're controlling the games better. They have more of the possession off and they swing it side to side, more of a structured approach in many regards. But if you can't get through the box, if you can't get through the final third, if you can't penetrate and create these little lanes of space, if you don't have that extra oomph, it's not going to allow you to score the goals if you're not dynamic enough. And that's why we're seeing new names, new progression, and they have that hunger. I didn't want to be in the room with Greek Freak. I feel like he was going to yell at me. I was going to leave immediately. I said, whatever you want. What can I help you with? I don't want this energy you're giving me. It's aggressive in here.
Aggressive but passionate, and that is what we like to see right here. That winners bracket final is coming up very, very soon, so make sure you do stick with us here at the FIFA 21 Global Series Oceania Qualifier number 1. We've got Nayla AU taking on Greek Freak in just a few minutes. We'll see you shortly.
FIFA Global Series 21 Oceania Qualifier 1 is presented by PS4.
Hello and welcome back to the FIFA 21 Global Series Oceania Qualifier number 1. My name is Kyle Walker and I am joined by Mike LaBelle for 2 days of FIFA 21 action from the Oceania region. Mike, we've seen 2 matchups in our winners bracket. They're going head to head. It's set up a very exciting final coming up very, very shortly. It's just nice to be back. I'm loving it, mate.
It's a great way to start the year, and both games thus far have been very offensive, which is something that I always support. So hand clap to all the competitors so far. Yeah, you can't get mad at seeing goals. I don't like clean sheets. I'm like anti-clean sheets. Maybe I'm anti-defense at this point. I don't know, but I don't want to see any of the clean sheets. I want back and forth action. I mean, these might have been blowouts slightly, but either way, goals were scored and goals were conceded.
They were indeed. And if you're enjoying the action at home, make sure you do stick around, because during the FIFA 21 Global Series, you have complete control of your viewership rewards. Yes, for the first time, you'll receive guaranteed rewards for watching the best FIFA players in the world competing at the highest level right here. If you're watching right now, well, you're achieving this as we speak. All you've got to do is make sure that you've linked to your Twitch and EA accounts, watch at least an hour of the FIFA 21 Global Series competitions live on Twitch on these weekends, and you'll receive 1 FIFA Global Series swaps token per weekend. Now, these tokens, I will add, may take up to 7 days to appear in your account. So don't worry, watch it for an hour, enjoy me and Mike, Nate and Treaders and the FIFA 21 action, and then within 7 days, these tokens will drop into your account. Now, they are redeemable in repeatable SBCs in FIFA Ultimate Team with some great pack rewards up for grabs. So remember, the more tokens you earn by watching on the eligible weekends, the more flexibility you will have to decide on which rewards you get. Now, as well as that, we thought we'll give you a little bit extra. We might as well. You're here. It's 2021. We want to make it as exciting as we can. So remember, if you are watching, we've got some extra special things for you. Anyone who watches more than the hour of FIFA Global Series this weekend on Twitch with a linked Twitch and EA account, that is very important, will also receive a Complexity Team Crest and a Complexity Tifo. So make sure you're sticking around. They can be yours. And if that's not enough to entice you to keep you here, well, a winner's bracket final will definitely be enough. Mike, we've got Nayla AU taking on Greek Freak in this matchup right here. 2 of the new school going head to head, and I'm expecting lots of goals.
And ironically, even though I just complimented both these guys scoring goals, being so active and creative in that final third, I think this is going to come down to who plays better defense, because they both can score. They both have the skills that pay the bills. They have the tricks and the tips, the ins and the outs, the yin and the yang. Let me know if I've overdone this. But it's going to come down to who can stop the other competitor, because they're both proven to be able to score goals and also be clinical on the virtual pitch.
Now you can see right there, shots 9 for Nayla AU and 10 for Greek Freak on target, both on 9 each. Possession was quite close, controlling the possession throughout the games. 52.5% for Nayla AU, 54% for Greek Freak in his matchup. Pass accuracy exactly the same, 92%. And then tackles, 15 for Nayla AU, 14 for Greek Freak. Now, Mike, I don't want to get too bogged down in the stats right there, because these two, it feels like with the skill moves, it feels like when they get going, it's a bit, they're unstoppable in a way. We saw how they both dismantled Marcus Gomes and also Marco. So for these two going head to head, as you say, it's going to be who makes the mistake and who can capitalize on that.
And the big difference between playing at home, even if you're playing the weekend league, even if you're coming in at close to an elite level or in that elite category, at the professional or at the competitive level, the difference is you always need that extra skill, that extra step. You have to have something special, that tiny bit of sauce that goes on to whatever meal that you're eating. Maybe I'm just hungry, but you've got to have the ability to beat your opponent for that one last time in order to make sure that it's a sure chance, because these competitors are not looking for 50-50s. They're not even looking for 80-20s. They really want to have at least a 90-10 or a close to 100% chance of finishing their opportunity.
So let's bring in Nate and Treaders into this conversation right here. These guys are from the region. You do know all of the competitors quite well. And one that I do just want to quickly focus on, Greek Freak. We saw him at the Summer Cup Series way back when in 2020. He came third, I think it was, in that competition right there. So Treaders, for you, is he someone that can achieve better than that? Can he go on to win a tournament now?
Absolutely. He's won a couple of our local Gomes Cup tournaments run by Dylan Gomes, and he's got all the skills to pay the bills. He's got that defensive style. He has his own attacking style. He plays a little bit unorthodox, doesn't do everything the same way, and I'm going to say it again, Mike, the player lock, he uses it as good as anyone that I've seen this year.
And Nate, for you then, if we're looking on the other side of it, if we're looking at Nayla AU, I mean, he definitely set the bar, as I said. He's scored lots of goals. He's gone up against Marcus Gomes, and he made light work of that one. Sorry, Marcus. But he looks good, doesn't he?
Nayla is sensational. Again, he's going to keep getting slept on. Everyone's going to look at him and be like, you're not signed to an esports org. You haven't really won any major tournaments. I'm not going to spend any time on you. And he'll keep surprising people. Just don't ask me for my prediction for this next one.
Oh, you read my mind, because now you've told me not to do it. I'm going to come straight to you. Nate, who are you going for in this final?
It is my least favorite part, at least because I play against these guys and I know them well enough. I'm going to go Greek Freak. I got to be honest, I was one of those before, I guess, about this time last year that wasn't sure if he'd make that step up. He well and truly has. Whoever I pick, whoever I miss out on, truly deserves to be up there come the end of this tournament.
Taking hints from Mike right there, positive sandwich. You're just going to throw it in the middle and hope that we don't acknowledge who you've gone for. Treaders, what about you? Who do you predict for this final?
I mean, in standard form for myself and Nate, I'm going to agree with Nate on this one. I think Greek Freak has just the complete package down pat. I think Nayla got into Marcus's head very quickly in the last contest, and I don't think he'll be able to repeat that dosage against Greek Freak. I think Greek Freak's versatility in the final third will see him through this matchup, as well as his ability on the defensive front.
And Mike LaBelle, come on, tell us who you're going for. We're both not doing too well, so I might not go with you this time.
Don't put us down over here, all right? So I got a text message in between the last couple of games. If I got an invitation, Treaders was in the group, Greek Freak was in the group to join Player Lock FC. So I said, look, I'm interested in joining Player Lock FC. What do I have to do? They're like, we got to see what kind of player lock movement you've got. Are you able to do this instinctively? I was like, look, trust me, it's at a qualified level. I'm proficient in player locking. And they're like, cool, Mike, you're good to go. So on that note, I'm going with Greek Freak, as I've now joined the new football club that's been created, that's coming out of this region.
Do you know what's funny? I didn't even get the call up, but I'm just going to put myself into the team. So I'm going with Greek Freak as well. No call up. I'm just jumping straight in there. I'm going to get the shirt printed very, very soon. All four of us going for Greek Freak. We know what happened the last time all four of us went together. We'll see what happens on this one. Nate, Treaders, it's over to you guys for the final.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Nayla is just so impressive, Treaders. Again, is it this whole unassuming attitude, this not putting himself out there? I think he's made about 20 tweets in all of 2020. Quiet, under the radar. Is that the only reason that he's not getting mentioned in these higher conversations, or is there something more to it?
I think he's a newer player on the competitive scene, but I think also he's yet to accomplish the big goal of winning one of these big tournaments. He's, as we've said, as I was talking about before, the Gomes Cup, he hasn't really competed to as a high standard as he would have liked in those competitions, whether that's through getting a bad draw or being unavailable to compete in the tournament. I think also the fact that his play style is so offensively minded, it becomes quite hard to justify backing him in every form of FIFA, because, and if this was a football team, you'd find a lot of pundits talking about how you need to have a strong defense first of all to be able to win a championship. And I think that is something that he has worked tirelessly on. His attack will always be outstanding, but his defense will improve game by game.
First shot goes just past the far post. Will be Greek Freak in the white. Nayla, aptly named Ultimate Team in the fluorescent kit. Nayla was all predictions against him. Marcus Gomes, the 4-0 favorite when it came to us behind the desks, if you like. All four of us so very, very wrong. Can he show us up? And the naysayers up once more. Or will Greek Freak carry this weight of expectation? We will very quickly start talking about how new it is to him, how he is the new champion, the new leader of the scene, and we'll very quickly start to get talked about in the present time. And his defensive stability is just so impressive. He looks completely at ease, that deep into his own penalty area.
And we're seeing a little bit end-to-end, both competitors getting opportunities early on. As we see Greek Freak creating space, skilling, shot fired directly at the goalkeeper, who makes a great save with his feet. Nayla rushing that attack a little bit. And Greek Freak, I haven't seen him use player lock. Maybe he's seen that Mike has joined the club and has decided, you know what, enough's enough, I'm out of here. It's too mainstream now.
Both competitors just taking their time to construct the attacks. You see there, the through ball is on. This time it is played. Cruyff running through onto the right foot, onto the left foot, and once again, Greek Freak's defending more than equal to the task. Interception not made there by Nayla, stepping out, making the manual challenge, if you like. Straight back up the other end we go, trying to run past the defender, but nothing doing. He is such an underrated feature of FIFA 21. Everybody wants to score goals. You'll see the highlights. What you may not see, Treaders, is the brilliant defending. Not just great tackles, great challenges, reading the passing lanes, great illegal challenges, if you like we saw from Greek Freak just a moment ago, hacking down opponents from behind, knowing that he won't be punished that severely.
And it's interesting to note the difference in defensive styles between Greek Freak and Nayla. Greek Freak sitting a little bit further back and waiting for Nayla to come to him, which is something that you do have to do against Nayla. The best way to defend a skiller, whether that be in real life or in game, is to wait for them to take the heavy touch to skill, and then you might get an opportunity to win that ball back, but you cannot afford to let them turn. And Greek Freak executing that to absolute perfection. However, Nayla opts to press a little bit higher, tries to get in those passing lanes, and he has totally prevented Greek Freak from using his player lock so far. Such has been the pressure on the ball carrier.
On the edge of the area now, Greek Freak, and then dilly-dallying just a bit too long. Nayla trying to release Cruyff early, and that he does. Down this far side, tries to bring it inside. Dembele met with a firm tackle from Joe Gomes. Just waiting to see if possession will be recovered. It feels like, Treaders, correct me if I'm wrong, that first 30 minutes was a bit, wait for it, possession-based, and now it's starting to open up very quickly.
Absolutely, and I had a little bit of a flashback of my own as I saw Nayla getting into that edge of the area, trying to defend him in my one season on EGN. It was just a nightmare when he gets to the edge of the 18-yard box. Once he gets into that area, there are so many options for him, whether he runs byline or cuts it back across the box or simply waits for you to commit a player or commit to a challenge, the opportunities for him are endless.
Again, the big through ball comes out this time. Neymar is on the end of it, and the pass inside could be read from a mile away. Easy interception, that pass going through the legs. A bit of frustration for Greek Freak. Now down the near side. Mbappe again. A few dribbles, but it will come back and across with these CDMs. Now to Cruyff. Step overs. Gomes in the way once more, making me feel happy that he's still my centre back in Weekend League.
And Greek Freak doing a great job to stay goal side in that situation. Backing your goalkeeper to cover the near post. Absolutely important positioning there, not overcommitting to the player in that situation. As we see, Greek Freak with his back to goal, bridges, and the goalkeeper movement from Nayla saves him in that situation. Brilliant composure, but Greek Freak would have to be frustrated with himself. He just got caught in the moment and didn't see the goalkeeper movement, but that is some clutch movement from Nayla.
Come on, man.
That was about the 3rd minute of no minutes of added time in that first half. Competitors not sure when it was going to end, and Greek Freak maybe a little rattled with the opportunity he didn't think he would have. 0-0 in this first leg of the winner bracket final. You are watching Nayla versus Greek Freak. And just like the start of the first half, it feels like things will start a bit like this, possession-based. Defenders not really being brought out. That said, there's an opportunity wide before the bridge is straight into the player. Easy read, easy done. I wonder if you got the bridge counter out today, Treaders, how many times you'd get it. If I had 1,000 FIFA coins for every time we said bridge, I'd have a team full of Nick Popes by the end of the first sentence. Here is Nayla to Ronaldo. You look at these one-on-one battles, you know they're big moments. Is he good enough to take it? It goes over his player. Good save. Under his player, rather, who jumped over the ball. Never fun when your AI player is offside and obstructs your shot at goal, but the keeper doing the job there. Greek Freak trying to attack. Good read with Varane. And here we go. We had to wait 30 minutes in the first half for it to open up, but already we're seeing defenders being brought forward and a few more of these early direct through balls being brought out in attack.
That desperation defense from Greek Freak. He dragged a player back to cover his goal line as he moved the goalkeeper to the other side. As we see a chance now for Greek Freak with the back heel not being executed and Nayla making the read time and time again. Nayla's defense has improved out of sight from the previous time I watched his gameplay. And it is awesome to watch him play, but a mistake in possession will give Greek Freak a chance.
Just outside his attacking area, and it's that man, Gomes, again, coming across, making the read, winning the ball. Nayla just trying to bait in the midfielders. Offside trap used. Line steps up for Greek Freak. Nayla doesn't care just yet, and there we go. Past one centre back. Can he get past the second here with Cruyff? Goes wider still with Dembele. Moment may have passed, and indeed the Gomes at the other end making the block. A staple for both these competitors. It is very interesting, Treaders. Maybe unlike real football, here in FIFA 21, it seems competitors are happy to let opponents on the inside near that penalty spot. It's the outside, the near post shot that they don't want to allow.
Absolutely. The goalkeeper covers so much of that angle from the inside as we see Greek Freak nailing it into the bottom left-hand corner, using step overs to create the space, and out of pretty much nothing, Greek Freak has taken the lead over Nayla.
I feel like my theory has a little bit more credence now. Immediately, Greek Freak stepping away from the center of that pitch into the half space, if you like, in the attacking third in the penalty area, and makes no mistake. Maybe a little tip, a little hint for you watching along, hoping to improve your weekend league results. While there are lots of similarities between football and FIFA 21, attacking strategy a little different. Look to the sides rather than the center of your opponent's goal.
Absolutely. The goalkeepers are generally quite strong in any FIFA, no matter the FIFA that you play. Besides, maybe if we go back to FIFA 15, where goalkeepers might have been a little bit more questionable. But in recent editions of the game, we found goalkeepers to be incredibly strong. And I'd argue maybe a little bit too strong, but that's just my personal opinion. I'm sure the competitors would love to see their goalkeepers save absolutely everything, but not their opponents for sure.
I think they saved plenty enough, thank you, Treaders. Greek Freak with that 1-0 lead here in the first leg of this winner bracket final. The winner, of course, through to Championship Sunday, if you like. And dancing his way through and finishing. There it is again, Greek Freak. Mike mentioned it ahead of this game. He is so passionate, so vigorous, that it almost looks like he's irritated when he scores. That just means man is fired up, man is in the zone. Man has a 2-0 lead over Nayla as we approach the end of this first leg.
And Mike talked about this last time we were on broadcast in one of his breakdowns, using step overs for decision making. As we see it once again, and Nayla would be disappointed with his inability to finish that chance. But using step overs for your decision making just buys you a little bit of time as your player protects the ball. If your opponent decides to lunge in when you're doing your step overs, they will either give away a foul and a penalty, or they will simply give up a very crucial position.
Can Nayla make the most of his opportunity? He can indeed. Low and driven into that near post. Nothing Nick Pope can do for Greek Freak. And not that it was game off before, but it is most certainly game on as we head into the last 5 minutes of regular time. We were struggling to separate these two, this pair, ahead of this winner bracket final. Nayla certainly making those pre-match predictions a little bit more shaky.
A little bit fortunate with that goal there. Goalkeeper getting a hand on it, but not quite finishing it. But Nayla will take a little bit of confidence, knows he's still in it, and nearly gets the chance there, but and nearly said umpire, the referee's flag was raised.
A sigh of relief for Greek Freak and his legion of fans and followers. It remains just 2-1 at the end of the first leg. But it certainly felt like Greek Freak's attacking patterns got a little bit similar, a little bit the same, whereas Nayla was able to show that bit more variety and really grow into that second half the longer that it went.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw Greek Freak create his chances by his variations, and we know Nayla has so many variations up his sleeve once he gets confident and once he backs himself against his opponent. It may only be a matter of time until we see them all come out, but as we know, Greek Freak is a top defender, and we're seeing those step overs to create the space. The player protects that ball so well, and Greek Freak so strong when he gets the opportunity to score.
I reckon that's a let's go, baby, from Greek Freak. He wasn't done with just one, making it two. Again, going to the side of the goal, absolutely crucial to create his chance. But then with not much time left at all, this was Cruyff through the legs. A bit unfortunate for Greek Freak, but we've talked about it, Treaders. You need to make the most of your fortune, of your luck when it comes.
Yeah, absolutely not much Greek Freak could have done better there. Made the interception initially, but that's the way it goes. You have to control what you can control, and maybe you could have made an interception further up the pitch. Maybe you could have had a tackle made, but to Nayla's credit, he makes Greek Freak stand often and try and make those interceptions by the way he plays. He makes you wait and wait until he's finished skilling. And once that situation arises, he's going to take his shot. He's going to make the most of his opportunity because that's just the way he plays.
Is it also potentially a matter of Greek Freak just settling in, being happy with his 2-0 lead, maybe even that 2-1 lead? Not a lot changed after that goal was scored by Nayla. We've talked about it previously, Treaders. Do you still believe that attack is the best form of defense, particularly in these first legs?
To an extent, especially in the first leg, a little bit of a kit change for this next contest, with Nayla opting to go for the bright blue kit. But it just depends on what you are stronger at. In Greek Freak's situation, he might like the 4-5-1, but I don't think Nayla would ever want to get too defensive because of the way he is so incredibly strong in attack.
Early chance, blocked by Firmino, doing his defensive work. For Nayla, Greek Freak, I believe, back in that FootWiz kit. Yes, it is available for you to use within FIFA Ultimate Team. Man fighting through, but De Gea now in goal. Evidently, someone not happy with their Nick Pope. He's been used a bit earlier as well. But here he is again, shot across the face on this occasion. Saved and out of play. Greek Freak certainly back on the attack if he was settling at all at the end of that first leg. He is back into the danger zone, working hard to create some opportunities. None of them just yet too clear-cut.
Incredibly strong start from Greek Freak here to begin this second leg.
Might need to go to 7, bro. It's really bad.
He most probably should have finished that opportunity he had with R9. And we
really
see
bad,
Nayla
dude.
creating space, well blocked by Greek Freak. Some changes already.
Like way too much, bro.
By Nayla.
I did 7.
Not happy with the way he set up his tactics pre-game.
Because they're so wide, man.
Just ensuring that they are the way he wants.
The 4-4-2 defensive being used. Some lovely dribbling. Ends up with Cruyff. I'm not sure if that was exactly expected. Looked to be a heavy touch rather than a pass. Luck not made the most of on that occasion. Here we are with Ronaldo, who bundles into his player. There was an offside. And maybe it's for the best that that attack breaks down.
The best for Greek Freak at the very least. And we'll see. Greek Freak using that player lock once again.
Come on,
and
Jay.
another massive save from Nayla's goalkeeper. Greek Freak really showing his attacking strength in this contest so far. At least in this second leg, he's come out absolutely on fire. He could potentially be 2 goals up if he was just a little bit more clinical. But that's something that I'm very surprised that I'm even thinking about saying Greek Freak not being clinical. That is something else.
The pressure of the big occasion, it's all good and well to do it during Weekend League, to do it during the Gomes Cup. Just as noteworthy, just as credible. We like seeing those games played out on stream. And here is the attack for Greek Freak. We want to bring it back inside. He's got 3 shirts waiting in the middle. One of them now outside the box. Renato Sanchez plays it back. Lovely dribbling. Ronaldo almost applying the finish. Nayla getting there just in time. And you see Greek, not just a lot more attacking, happy to try and press out on the first occasion. And there you go. Wins it back. Mbappe to Sanchez. The pressure's on here. He doesn't use the through ball out to the left-hand side. I'm a little bit surprised. From my novice eye, it looked like it was on. João Felix to Neymar. Ronaldo just winning it straight back, and at the end of it, decides to have a pot shot well kept in play by Nayla. Credit to both these competitors.
Interesting spate of possession there from Greek Freak. Counter-attacking opportunity, a lot of space here. Greek Freak committed players forward. Nayla, the slightest bit of goalkeeper movement just got into his own head from Greek Freak. But that attack, very promising. A player down off the ball. And Nayla trying to do too much there with his Blanc. Trying to turn back inside, and the opportunity wasn't there. And we see Greek Freak coming through now. And a brilliant clearance
Drag his fucking keeper.
from Nayla's goalkeeper. That goalkeeper change paying off potentially at the moment.
I thought it was on. We've not seen too many lofted through balls in this contest, in this tournament so far. That's a lot more type A, a lot more straightforward. And a lovely goal scored by that man, R9. Greek Freak extending his lead.
And now we shall see Nayla start to open up, start to play a little bit more aggressive, and Greek Freak will be happy to lean into his more defensive side to see out this contest. Still 70, or rather 60 minutes to play in this contest between Greek Freak and Nayla. And Nayla, with so much attacking potential, still to show that in this contest because of Greek Freak's strong defense. Making all the correct reads that he needs to make and forcing Nayla to turn into him and winning that ball back in some very good areas.
A good area this for Nayla, but once again, Greek Freak's defending equal to it. Good read there from Nayla with the passing lane interception. And here we go, Cruyff, one of his go-to players so far today. Greek Freak just waits for it. Show me what skill moves you got, and I'll patiently wait on the end, and then go up the other end indeed. This is Ronaldo, turns back inside, lovely ball across the face, and that is the goal of the day so far. Stunning build-up, brilliant pick out at the back post, and Mbappe makes no mistake for Greek Freak.
And that all came from that scintillating defensive sequence from Greek Freak. He simply jockeyed and jockeyed and jockeyed until Nayla made the skill move Elasticode into him. And Nayla getting a little bit impatient with his attack, trying to force it to happen as he has to do right now. And Greek Freak, so clinical and so brilliant when it comes to defending in the clutch moments.
What a goal. You can't really afford to be left breathless when you're commentating, but I'm sure you at home watched on in awe. Brilliant pick out again at the back post. It's all good and well to play the one extra pass, but to cross it across the face, to see that, to have that vision, and then to execute is something else entirely. Greek Freak fans, no doubt feeling very comfortable, as would the man himself, and it's come about with, yes, some good defending, but the continued aggression and attacking press to win that ball back up front in tight areas, or at the very least, just be a bit more direct with his build-up play. The early through ball never hurt anybody.
Absolutely. You can get sucked into playing the midfield game, feeling good about yourself when you're in possession, but overall, the only thing that matters at the end of a football game is the scoreline. You don't get bonus points for keeping possession. And so why not, when you're as good as Greek Freak is at creating those final chances, play that ball early and score some awesome goals as we see him go again and score another incredible goal. Greek Freak putting on a show and an absolute display of class.
If you thought it was a bit of a fluke in that last game against Marco, a bit of an aberration, well, you do need to adjust your set. You do need to have a rethink. The man didn't actually perform at the latest Gomes Cup. How many more plugs can we give that tournament, by the way? Credit Dylan Gomes for giving us something to look at during the week. but he wasn't really at his best. Maybe just trying out a few different things ahead of this one, but he is zoned in and firing. It is the 5-1 aggregate lead, 3-0 in this second leg.
And you can I never like reading too much, even into weekend league results, because there is some tactics that simply work better. Penalty given away there now by Greek Freak. But there are simply some tactics that you need to test out tactics at times. And here comes Nayla, opts to belt it straight down the middle, fakes right and finishes well. That penalty given away by Greek Freak, giving Nayla another sniff.
Just a little look back into the game. I don't think he'd be too worried, and we've seen him happy to give away penalties and fouls in dangerous areas, backing himself to make the read on the penalty or the free kick. Doesn't happen there, but maybe he just wants the ball back nice and quickly. Here he is, Kylian Mbappe. Good defending by Mendy, the left back for Nayla, who will take it away and maybe feel like he is indeed half a chance. 5-2 on aggregate. This baby blue kit giving new life to this contest, perhaps. Good defending on the edge of the area from Greek Freak. You see there the high depth, the high defensive line. It was actually a through ball on down wide. He opted to pass back to the fullback, but that passing lane was covered. And here comes Nayla. Keeper comes out, keeper comes back. Dembele to Ronaldo. And maybe it is game on then. 3-2 in this game. 5-3 on aggregate. Almost out of nothing, Treaders. But is it a bit of complacency from Greek Freak?
And almost a moment ago, I was going to say that Greek Freak is putting on a masterclass on how to defend a skiller. But it's very hard to defend a skiller when you give the ball away in such dangerous areas as he is currently being. A little bit lackadaisical, dare I use quite a long word in that situation. And we're seeing Greek Freak opportunity. Maybe could have gone for the chip very early with that goalkeeper so far off his line. We've seen that chip be incredibly effective. But Greek Freak being a little bit too relaxed in possession, giving that ball away, not dealing with the press incredibly well. The Coach Zach, will undoubtedly be in his ear, telling him he needs to lock in, can't give the ball away because Nayla is just too strong. If you give him half a chance or enough space and enough numbers on the counter-attack to make something happen, as he has right now.
Another attack for Nayla. Happy to hold up with Cruyff. This time, he goes near post. Oh, it's brilliant from Nayla. He's baited that on 2 occasions. This time, does go near post. Finishes again. Game on again. Goodness gracious me. Even for him, you see him sitting up a little straighter. Eyes a little brighter. Believing he could be back into it. But here it is, Greek Freak. Mbappe doesn't opt to take the chip, and the keeper came back, but then couldn't finish. Maybe could have passed it across. It's all good and well to bring out the maybes. There is still another opportunity, but Neymar dribbles it straight out of play. And the normally nerveless Greek Freak showing some nerves now. Good read back. You do feel the weight for him to maintain and build on this lead is to keep going forward. He keeps going back to this fullback. And I know Cancelo doesn't have a personality. He's not real, but if he did, he'd be saying, can you stop giving me the ball? I'm being put under pressure time and time again and giving it away more often than not. Thankfully, he comes forward now, does Greek Freak. He'll use these 2 defensive mids to hold the ball up and say, Nayla, come and get it. And here it is. This is the danger one. I hate it, Treaders. I hate seeing it because there's another turnover. Cruyff inside. Nayla finishes. Oh, you bet he does. He ties this up at 5-5. What a remarkable turnaround.
Nayla has gone from being 5-1 down to leveling the score. Greek Freak would be absolutely furious at himself for the performance he has put in possession of the ball. The press from Nayla has been simply too good. And I've got to say, I'm disappointed with the way that Greek Freak has dealt with the ball when he's in possession. But credit to Nayla, he is so clinical when you give him half a chance. His attacking ability is something that is totally next level, on par with the best FIFA players in the world.
The one thing that Greek Freak has done so well is score goals. We can't rule out one late here. Of course, if things are level, you know what comes next. Bonus FIFA, baby. Will it get done here, though? Nayla, Cruyff, Firmino, Ronaldo, the fake shot. It comes back to Cruyff. Excellent. Last-ditch defending from Greek Freak. It's almost stunning that we have to say that, but we will tick over again into extra time. Some bonus FIFA esports for you at home. This is the winner bracket final. And if you've only just tuned in, you've missed out on a lot. And you know what, Treaders? I've called it too early. The free kick comes back. The slide tackle comes out. Surely you just get this clear and spare my blushes. We're in the 3rd minute. There we go. Thank goodness. I was so confused. We went back into those menus and I was like, excuse me. Excuse me, sir. But we are now at the end of extra time. Apologies for that bluff, but we come back into it. And a good thing, perhaps, for Greek Freak, if nothing else, he can bring some fresh legs on there, Treaders, and maybe just take a deep breath and think about how he can repeat those positive attacking actions earlier on in this second leg.
He has to put the conceding 4 goals in a row behind him right now if he is to regain his lead to any extent. If he gets caught up in the fact that he threw away that lead and starts thinking about what he should have done, what he could have done better, it will only lead to more mistakes from him, and Nayla will undoubtedly, trying to think of the word, something his ascendancy on this content.
Here he comes. There are options. The through ball through the middle not used. He wants to hold on to the ball. Keep it wide. Now he can go centrally. You see the DMs are not tracking back enough, or certainly not being manually pushed back to block the passing lanes. Whether that's a bit of tiredness and fatigue from Greek Freak or a tactical ploy, only he knows. Choosing to manually control the defenders has led to a few costly errors. Again, he has scored 5 himself. There have been plenty of things to like about his attacking play. The bridge not coming off. Heavy touch. Well collected, and then Nayla gives it straight back. Not long left at the end of this first bit of extra time. And Greek Freak somehow squeezes off that pass. Mbappe across the face. Excellent save. David De Gea.
That was an incredible pass. Huge attempted challenge there. Foul nearly given away by Nayla. Nayla's making a couple of mistakes with his players switching, and a ball goes between the legs. Greek Freak rushing into that challenge, and the press is on. A lot of stamina still left for Greek Freak. As he wins that ball back once again, Nayla pushing that ball forward quickly. Needs to get that ball going forward, and he does. Huge challenge there from Greek Freak. And Nayla running to the corner flag as Greek Freak wins that ball back and sends it long.
Still level here. No closer to knowing who will progress from this winner bracket final. Advance through to Championship Sunday. Look how tired those front two are. There's a reason they're still out there. 94, 91 rated, brilliant finisher, brilliant dribbler. They want to both be out there, I'm sure, if you're Greek Freak. However, The tired legs must make you think twice. So many little changes that can be made tactically when it comes to personnel as well. However, we'll press on. The 5-1 lead from Greek Freak is gone. It's 5-5 with only this second part of extra time to play and then penalties if necessary. Nayla in the blue. Lozano coming off him last, I believe, indeed. Anytime Greek Freak has played it back to his fullback, it has been worrying times. Again, very easy for us to see from the comfort, the bird's eye view. The pressure is off here, but the pressure is on for Greek Freak. It now seems like an eternity ago that he was scoring for fun. You get the feeling like it might just be the one more goal that will separate the pair. Good defending again, maybe a little fortuitous with the AI body getting in the way. And I just hate seeing it, Treaders, going to the fullback. I know I'm on repeat, but there is no pass on there. And quite simply, you shouldn't use him if he doesn't have the passing option. Gives Nayla the opportunity, but credit to Greek Freak, he's hanging on.
Normally we'd see Greek Freak utilize the player lock, but because, oh, there we go, player lock locked in there. But normally we'd see him utilize that player lock, and we're seeing a bridge, ball roll, step over, hits it to the far post and finishes it. Greek Freak takes the lead back after Nayla makes a huge comeback with barely any time remaining for Nayla to regain the levels of scores. What a performance it has been from Greek Freak, and what a game we've had.
I have a feeling that Greek Freak sleeps like a baby. He exerts so much energy playing his FIFA 21. He mustn't have much left in the tank when he goes to bed, and we love seeing him leave it all out there on the digital pitch. It takes great courage and bravery, fortitude, all those good things to come back. Come back he has, and come back complete. Sheer relief now on that man's face. Credit to Nayla for giving us extra FIFA, but Greek Freak refinding his composure. Most importantly, refinding the back of the net. Now on 2 occasions, Nayla says, that's enough for me. Let's get that done. And look at the emotion. Greek Freak, who only ever displays that emotion after he scored a goal. Sheer relief. What is going through his mind right now, Treaders?
Absolute relief. He would still be kicking himself for giving away that lead. But credit to him, he kept fighting, he cleared it from his brain, and he scored those 2 goals in extra time to deliver himself the victory. But he will be breathing a lot easier, and he goes through to tomorrow. He gets a little bit of rest and a little bit of time off. You would have hated to have finished on giving away a 4-goal lead going into tomorrow.
Thank you so much to Nayla for giving us an excellent game in this winner bracket final. But the congratulations, the chocolates, the points go to Greek Freak FIFA. He is your winner. Back to Kyle and Mike to break it down.
Thank you, Nate and Treaders. Yes, Greek Freak gets the win. He gets the chocolates, as Nate said. I think he needs some energy after that game. Mike LaBelle, what a game. What a performance from both of those competitors. How do you even sum that up?
If you were not entertained from that matchup, because I think most of us here were writing it off. He said this game is done. And then Naylor starts making this comeback, and he's taking his opportunities. He's gradually putting more pressure on Greek Freak. It was incredible. It was an incredible game. And based on the form both these competitors have, it's kind of what we expected. I said, look, Kyle, I'm anti to clean sheet. I want to see goals. I want to keep that trend going. I felt that the game was going to be decided by the defense between these two players. It actually wasn't. It was maybe more so the lack of closeout from Greek Freak that went to extra time, kind of fell apart late. Or you got to give a lot of credit to Naylor to be able to make this comeback. to stay focused, to stay dialed, as you see the step overs on step overs on step overs. It's one of those must-learn, super effective skill moves this year because it does something that very few skills are able to accomplish. Between the creativity, the innovative structure, you get a speed boost, you protect the ball, and even if you know it's coming, you can't always stop it, just depending on that matchup. As you see in behind, Footwiz kits, what do you have for us? 1-2s, the turns, pulls it back, there's the step over. Not done just yet. R9, always the man that you want to have inside the box. You see what it means to him, and at this point, Kyle, come on, we gotta be saying the game's done.
You definitely would have. You would have said it was a tight game in that first leg. The second leg, Greek Freak ran away with it, but Nayla, I mean, he found the extra 10%, 1%, whatever it was, and he managed to pull it all the way back. And it was at this point, Mike, I didn't know. I had my head in my hands just like Greek Freak did. I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought, no way is Nayla going to be able to pull this back all the way. And we thought it was going to happen. The very, very end, though, it did go all the way to extra time. And it was Greek Freak who managed to find his composure, find the back of the net in the final few minutes, and find it once again in the final few seconds right there. And I mean, that must be ultimate relief for him. Mike LaBelle, he must be right now sat in his room, sat in his living room, wherever he is, just thinking, wow, what have I just done?
I'd like to know what he was yelling. I just want to quote. I'm not a great rip leader. I'm not a great lip reader. I just made up some new words there, but I would have been very interested, maybe of being not in the room because it's a little too much passion for me, but just outside the room, so I could hear what was going on, but I'm not right next to it. But this is one of those moments. If Greek Freak loses this game, he's going to sit there and have to think about that. Even when he goes to losers bracket, he might not be able to get past it or get over that type of result where you should have had the win. It didn't need to have the extra time. It just was not necessary. You just had a poor closeout. It happens to the best of us. As someone who's competed in many tournaments, I've been on both ends. I've made fantastic comebacks, and that often propelled me to more self-belief, more self-insurance to go farther in that tournament. And unfortunately, I've been on the reverse end where I was ahead and I gave up a lead. And therefore, I lost my confidence, I lost my head. Or what happens is in your future matchups, you're still thinking about the game that woulda, shoulda, coulda, as opposed to being focused on the game that you're currently present, involved in, and you lose focus. You're not dialed. You just can't break that you just gave away something. You felt as if you were Santa Claus, or Christmas time was all every month. You're like, here you go. I've got presents for you. Happy birthday. Whatever the celebration here. I'll feed you for Thanksgiving.
I mean, Mike, I'm not going to lie. I'm often in your streams on the weekends for Weekend League, and it's normally you giving up the leads quite often. So that's a weekly basis for you right there.
Thanks, Kyle.
I can see by your face that it's true. Right, let's have a look back at some of the action from today as we've got our game highlight presented by PlayStation.
Thank you very much for review this combination of taking two very simple skill moves, and then when you're able to combine them, you've got an evolution. And most of us, I believe, can complete the ball roll. You can complete the scoop turn. These are pretty traditional skills, but when you put them together, you now create a new concoction where you have two effective skills, and now you have an effective skill combo. So you're gonna see the ball roll scoop turn here with Cruyff, and it's just so smooth, so quick, so pleasant, easy on the eyes, and then it gives you the finishing angle. You see that scoop turn, the finesse shot. It's been one of the best goals today, and this is all from Nayla in his previous matchup where he put on an absolute clinic going up against Marcus Gomes. None of us could predict the amount of goals that he was able to produce. It was unbelievable. 7-1 was the final.
It was indeed. Right, we can have a quick look at that winners bracket. We've been on that side of the tournament here on day one. As we've kicked off, we can see that first semi-final, Nayla beat Marcus Gomes 7-1, as Mike LaBelle said. Then we had our second semi-final, Greek Freak coming on top against Marco 4-1. And then it moved into that final. It was close. We didn't know what was going to happen. Greek Freak looked stressed. He looked nervous. But it was in those final few moments where that sheer relief was on his face. We don't know what he was saying. I would have loved to have heard the microphone from his headset. because wow, yeah, he was definitely screaming and shouting, and that has meant that he moves into that winners bracket. He stays in there into day 2, and next up it's the losers bracket. Yes, it's double elimination here, so it means if you lose once, you do drop into that losers bracket. And as we can see just here, Nayla AU drops down into the losers bracket final. That is where he goes in because he made his way all the way to the winners bracket final. And that is where we now move our attention to, yes, the losers bracket. The first matchup, Anezar taking on Mr. X3. That will be then followed by Sippy FC taking on Mark 11. But as you can see right there, Anezar taking on Mr. X3 in that matchup. The losers bracket is where it gets tasty. It's where it gets juicy. And Mike LaBelle, I'm looking forward to this one right here. If you're at home, make sure you do stick with us. It'll be coming up very shortly. We'll see you soon.
FIFA Global Series 21 Oceania Qualifier 1 is presented by PS4.
Hello and welcome back to the FIFA 21 Global Series Oceania Qualifier number 1. My name is Kyle Walker and we've got 2 days of FIFA 21 action from the Oceania region. The competitors are going head to head and we're jumping down into the losers bracket right here. I'm joined by Mike LaBelle. And Mike, we've already had an exciting start to the tournament, but right now, we said before the break, it was tasty. This is where the action gets going. And for the competitors, this is it now. They want to showcase themselves. They've got to climb the mountain. They're starting at the very, very bottom, but this is where it all starts.
And I don't know if this makes me cynical, but this is kind of what I enjoy most. I like when it's win or go home. I like when there's more pressure on. I like the tension. When you're playing and everybody's in great form and undefeated, even though the games are serious and you see the emotion, it's still happy days. You know, everybody has a second chance. But at this point, it is now, that is the end. As you like to say, turn off your console, shut it down, toss it downstairs maybe. Yeah, throw it this way, throw it that way, whatever it might be. But these are the games and these matchups that I really enjoy getting into. And sometimes when two competitors are struggling as well, you can just feel it, that they can't figure out that last bit of oomph that they need to get over the hump. And it's going to be a matter of who's able to generate something special.
It is indeed. We did say it's tasty, and if it's whetting your appetite to get involved in some competitive action, well, you can do with the PS4 Open Series. Yes, from the comfort of your own home, we have PS4 tournaments, which are weekly competitions for all skill levels, competing against your friends and rivals for unique rewards. You compete online for prizes ranging from unique game-specific dynamic themes and avatars to in-game currency and cash prizes as well. And those who play in the EA Sports FIFA 21 will have a chance to show off their skills to friends and rivals in weekly broadcasts hosted by PlayStation. And all you've got to do is go to compete.playstation.com and sign in with your PSN ID. Mike LaBelle, show us how you do it on the console.
It's pretty simple, actually. When you turn on the console, you're basically good to go. Everything's integrated. This is your one-stop shop. You need tips, you need tricks, you want to get into tournaments, you want to get involved. It doesn't get more simple. Go to compete.playstation.com. And it's a pretty easy piece of cake scenario. I've played in multiple tournaments. I have definitely taken part in using this function and this feature, but I love the idea that you can do everything internally, one place. I don't have to go elsewhere.
It makes life so much easier. Right, let's do a U-turn. Let's talk about the competitive action here at the FIFA 21 Global Series Oceania Qualifier number 1. Anezar taking on Mr. X3. It's the losers bracket. These two are going head to head. And Mike, we've seen Anezar before because he won the Summer Cup Series way back when. He took the cash prize. He took the number 1 spot. He showed up for his region, and this tournament he's going to be coming into it super confident.
There's no doubt that he's the informed competitor. I don't know anything about X3. I don't think any of us here have a built-up history or know the ins and outs or even where his name generated from or the backstory, the origin. So I think Anezar is definitely the favorite. He's obviously coming off being a champion for the first time. He's also maybe the guy to watch. If I was in this region, I would be saying, I got to beat Anezar. Right now, he's won the most recent tournament with the Summer Cup Series. I don't really like that. I think I deserve a claim where people need to be talking about me a little bit more. So we got to take down Anezar. So you do have a bit of a target once you've had success.
Right, let's hear from the FIFA 20 Summer Cup Series Oceania winner, Anezar, as he takes us through some of his gameplay styles and methods.
What's going on, everyone? My name is Anezar and I'm a professional FIFA player for Ground Zero esports, and I play in the Oceania region. And welcome to my masterclass. So basically we have the 4-4-2 here. It's pretty much the formation I use all round all year so far, and I've been enjoying it. Going to the depth of what I use on this formation, I have my defensive width on 5, also with a balanced defensive style. My depth is 6 because I like to press manually and get up all in my opponent's space. My offensive style is balanced as well, so I can either choose to hold possession on my own or counter-attack really quickly. The players in the box is 5 and the offensive width is 5 as well. But moving over to the instructions, this is where the magic happens. So pretty much starting from the strikers, I have stay central and target man. This allows me to get my players to come to feet when I'm passing you around in the midfield, you can either play the through ball or bait it so that your opponent thinks that you're going to play the through ball, but then eventually you just keep passing it around, creating space. And then on the wide mids, I have come back, get in the box and come short. Getting in the box allows for the attackers to move in whilst you're attacking from the wings. On the CDMs, I have stay back, cover center. A lot of people would use that as well. I'm sure you guys have seen that before. It's just a generic thing on CDMs and center mids. You don't want them to push forward. You'd rather generate them running forward on your own. And then the fullbacks is stay back, pretty much another generic instruction on the fullbacks. You don't want them to get forward. You got everyone else in the attack doing the work for you, so you don't really need your fullbacks, unless obviously you're chasing the game, but that's another story. The center backs are on default, don't touch them. And my keeper is on comes for crosses. This is probably like one of the special instructions that I've been using on my goalkeeper, is because usually they don't come out for crosses, and then this allows the opponent's team to just cross and then maybe get a better chance of scoring. Whereas if they come out for crosses, your keeper has a better chance of punching it or catching it. And yeah, that's my instructions and lineup on the 4-4-2. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know how it goes.
Anezar taking us through some of his instructions and his masterclass right there in FIFA 21. Mike, I've been very lucky to sit down with quite a few pros and talk through and film some of their masterclasses as well on FIFA 21. Now, instructions are so important. It is what sets out a normal player like me to a competitive player to a pro like yourself. I will put you in that bracket as well. I mean, how important actually are they for the pro scene?
Well, they're very important because it gives you reliability and consistency. So the reason that you set up instructions is so you can be able to count on and be able to keep a certain level of repetition where your players are positioned well. Okay, I want this guy to get in behind. I need these guys to run back. As Nazir was saying, something that's a little unusual, he has his goalkeeper on come for crosses. That's mainly because he's trying to interject or at least notify his goalkeeper, I don't want to give up whip crosses, which is a new feature in FIFA 21 that's very effective. So any way that I can counteract that, I'm going to go for it. And he's been able to do it via instructions, or he feels that he's getting a significant difference by having that instruction. But that's why it's important. Do you want your 4-4-2, for example, as a formation very common in FIFA 21? Do you want it to look like a defensive 4-4-2? Would you like it to look like a traditional 4-4-2? Would you like to look like a more of an attacking 4-2 or 4-4-2, which can also look like a 4-2-4? All that is instruction based. That is not necessarily based on you just putting the personnel out there. It's how you want to play. What do you want to replicate on the virtual pitch?
So that's what it is. That's why I'm doing so bad in Weekend League. It's got nothing to do with my skills. It's just the instructions right there. Right, let's bring in Nate and Treaders into the conversation. We focused a lot on Anezar. Now, guys, I do want to talk a little bit about his opponent, Mr. X3. Nate, you're from the region. I know you're an expert, both of you guys. Tell me, Mr. X3, could he cause an upset?
Probably not, which might sound a little harsh. It's probably not what you want to hear, and that's nothing against him. It's all due to the surprise in this region that Anezar didn't make it through to the winner's bracket. He has been, with Greek Freak, the two unbeatable players, all of a sudden a little beatable. So again, no shame in making it this far. It should, however, be a reasonably straightforward affair, in my opinion.
Oh gosh, I'm not too sure. After all of the ones I've been going with my predictions, I don't know who to go with on this one. Even the favourite at times doesn't come out on top. Treaders, we're going to start with you, as we always do, I think, with the predictions. Come on, cast it out to us. Who are you going for?
It has to be Anezar. I think, even though Mr. X3, and I'm sorry to the players that I'm going to out right now, he beat Jazz and Mike J, aka Chunky Monkey FIFA, on his way to this bracket, and those two are some of the top players in our region. So he does have that little bit of potential, and maybe it might have just been the perfect day for him, but I think he just doesn't have what it takes to beat the overall class and mastery of the game that Anezar has.
I'm also going to go with Anezar. I'm going to put it out there early. So Nate and Mike. Nate, I'll come to you first. Are you going to copy me and Treaders?
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what we're doing here. He is just too classy, too composed. The man gives nothing away. I'm going Anezar too.
And you, Mike LaBelle, are you just going to follow the trend? Are you going to be a sheep following the pack? Are you going to join us?
Well, that's ironic that you call me a sheep with how well you're doing on these predictions. I will say this about Mr. X3. He's going to need to join the X-Men and showcase some sort of FIFA ability if he wants to make this extremely competitive. I think it'd be a disrespect to Nazir at this point. He's earned the favoritism. He's earned that we're all going with him. It's just that we don't have a track record. We don't have prereqs with Mr. X3. So it's not that we don't want to go with him. He just doesn't have anything prior that's proven. So this is a time to make your name. But I'm going Anezar.
All four of us are backing Anezar in this matchup. It is the loser bracket round 1. Nate and Treaders, it's over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Kyle. Thank you, Mike. Bring it on. I say more FIFA esports. My name is Nate PTK. Good if you know your own name. Joined by Jay Treaders. Gonna take a deep breath, Treaders. We're on to the losers bracket. I've always found it a little bit weird calling it the losers bracket when they've come this far. They are some of the most quality competitors from this region. And no more than Anezar, because he has just been sublime. A brick wall gives nothing away. Give us a few more insights to the quality of his game.
Well, first of all, Anezar's side of the bracket that he came through was a little bit of a group of death. Some players hadn't been able to complete as many weekend league games as they would have liked or haven't got the results, so the seeding was a little bit all over the place for the bracket, and that resulted in a very, very strong bracket. Anezar had to come up against Dylan. Jamoto was on that side of the bracket, Honey Badger as well. It was just all these top names from our region all competing for one spot through the winners bracket, and Nazir made it through.
Thank you for joining us so far today, tonight, wherever you are around the world. You are here for the loser bracket, round 1, match 1, between Anezar and, as we're calling him for this game, to keep it nice and short, Mr. X3.
Had a little bit of a chat with Mr. X3 himself, a very nice fella from my interaction with him, but he said he doesn't mind what we call him, whether it's Mr. X, Mr. X3, so Mr. X3 I think it is.
The early attack, Jimenez, not often used, but employed on this occasion. Rashford as well. Valverde, it is fun seeing different players out there on the digital pitch. Cantona, so no doubt Jazz CB will be happy watching that man do his thing. Anezar finally picked up by an esports org, Ground Zero, who also employed the services of Dylan Gomes, younger brother of Marcus Gomes, and an excellent FIFA player in his own right. Their roster looking very strong for the E-Club World Cup and beyond. Mr. X3, as discussed, relative newcomer to the scene, and certainly in terms of making it this far. We've got another one coming up and a lovely story to tell you, so make sure you don't go anywhere. Expect quite a lot of this. Holding it with your defensive mids, waiting for that opportunity to get one-on-one with your defender before trying to skill past, but at the moment, the defending more than good enough. On the counter-attack, there's a player out left, he uses it, Neymar. Fake shots his way into the area, deeper still. Seeing if there was a way past, and there certainly was not.
And I think it'll be very rare that we see Neza give up a mistake as he did. He makes probably the least amount of mistakes in our region, whether that be in possession or in defense. The flaws in his game are incredibly limited. Such is his mastery of his controller and the game of FIFA.
He is also the competitor from the region who loves his green-timed shots. Rarely misses an occasion to take one, and indeed times it to perfection more often than not. Every competitor has their little quirk, their go-to mechanic. We've said with Greek Freak, we've said it enough. He likes the player lock. Well, for Anezar, in my opinion, it's the green time finishing that separates him. At least that's one of the aspects into the penalty area, just waiting. Wants this angle more than he does centrally. This time passes it back. And there's a penalty, because when that pass was made, Jimenez comes in with the tackle to send him to the floor.
Anezar just put Mr. X3 under enough pressure to force him to make the mistake as the penalty is taken incredibly coolly. Mr. X3 jumping all over the shot with his goalkeeper. But as was to be expected, Anezar comes out to the 1-goal lead.
Straight on the attack at the other end, Mr. X3. Playing it across the face, not a bad ball, but Varane there with the read for Anezar. Treaders, is there anything else you can reveal to us? Your chat with the gentleman newer to the scene.
Not too much. Unfortunately, he's not been enjoying the game as much as he would have liked recently, in recent times. But regardless, he's very happy to have the opportunity to compete at this event and to compete on broadcast nonetheless.
Good on him for giving it a go, if nothing else. You certainly understand the stresses that the competitive scene can put on you. It's why EA have implemented these mental health measures to assist competitors and players alike is the #1 priority. Now, can he put those good techniques and good habits in full effect and compete here, competing back from 1-0 behind? Again, seeing a few comments in the Twitch chat, felt like we were a bit harsh, a bit savage, to quote one particular user from Mr. X3. He is defending on this occasion. Anezar, the ball across and the finish into the back of the net. Never in doubt from Neymar to make it 2-0. Mr. X3 will have to take a deep breath and work his way back into this contest.
A lovely piece of build-up there from Anezar, just waited for his opportunity to arise, and we're seeing a couple more mistakes now from Mr. X3. Anezar, too good. He more than likely will get the opportunity to finish the chance that he created so expertly, and he did, but unfortunately Mr. X3 had got players back in time.
Or fortunately, depending on who you're going for, Treaders, we want to see a contest here in the loser bracket, round 1, match 1. It is Anezar, however, dominating possession, dominating proceedings. Here's St. Max. The shot blocked, saved by Oblak, who has a little dribble. Good to see St. Maximin being used. Sensational skill moves, unique animations, giving us some lovely FIFA esports to enjoy. This is Neymar, who you're going to see a lot more, and you've seen him a bit today. That first half comes to a close, and dare I say, Treaders, a little bit of one-way traffic.
As to be expected from Anezar's class, 66% possession, and I reckon about 90% of that possession was in the final third, just crafting his chances as he likes to do, wearing you down, waiting for you to make the mistake. And Mr. X3 making a couple of mistakes in defense, and that's all that was needed for a player of Anezar's class.
Anezar on his way through. There is a man in the middle. The angle is covered. The shot is blocked. And it will just be a corner for X3. Takes it short to Neymar. Really good pass, to be fair. Jimenez is not the man you want in that position. Blank to Ronaldo. And I believe that shot has to have been deflected. It was. He could have hit it first time. Decided to take a touch. And the clear-cut chance disappeared.
A little bit of pressure applied to Anezar in that situation. And that all came from Mr. X3's brilliant close dribbling. Again, he had to have been somewhat, I know we've been quite, as you said, savage towards him, but I think it's just in reflection of Anezar's class rather than X3 being awful at the game or something like that. there would be a little bit about him to get himself to this point in this competition. And we'll see that once again when he goes forward. In fact, when you play against Anezar, a lot of competitors would find that they go down very easily, and X3 has made him pay for a mistake at the back. It's 2-1, and the underdog has fought back.
Look at the celebration as well. Let's go. A bit of passion on your Saturday, if you don't mind. That is what it means to the man. As Treaders rightly states, Anezar is just so quality. Even scoring a goal against him is truly worth that type of celebration. Had the pleasure of meeting and speaking with his parents last year. So proud of their son and the strides he's made into the competitive scene as his R9 strives into the box and finishes. Anezar wasting no time in his response.
And that would absolutely just take the wind out of Mr. X3's sails. He needs to focus up once again, get locked in, as his initial comeback is halted for the time being.
Midfielders not being brought back particularly quickly for Mr. X3. It means Anezar can charge into the area. Jimenez does the splits and applies the block. Much to Mr. X3's relief, I'm sure. It feels like he's not going to waste too much more time with some possession play, trying to get it into the feet of his strikers. Neymar, a commonly used foot item. Lovely dribbling animation, so elusive. Anezar with a good early through ball, R9. Gonna have to hold it up and, dare I say, play it back. Here we go. Tries to find the man coming, but Jimenez again it is, with the interception for X3. The through ball, looking for the man, but not getting close to finding him. And here we go. We start to get a bit more end-to-end. We said X3 no longer tracking back with his midfielders, inviting Anezar to attack the space nice and early. It may well mean he gives up a few chances of his own, but of course he wants the goals to get back into it. Just like with the winners bracket, these are double-legged affairs, so plenty of time. You don't want to waste any of it, as we've seen today. 5-1 down, Treaders. It's nothing in a game of FIFA 21. The comeback is always on.
And we're seeing both of these competitors just feeling to see what their opponent wants to do. We saw Anezar just overplayed a little bit with Neymar just before, and we're seeing Mr. X3 overplay it as well, turning into Anezar, and Anezar having a little bit of extra space. That's too much space for R9. He is so dangerous in these positions because of his 5-star weak foot, his 5-star skills.
Taking the time to hold a bit of possession. X3 chilling a bit with the midfielders. Jimenez has been absolutely huge for him. Obviously these competitors using their own teams, finding foot items that they prefer and enjoy. Everybody has their quirks, the odd player that you might like. We've talked about Nick Pope as goalkeeper, but can get a bit more interesting with that Rashford. I know some people like more than others. Mike LaBelle, I'm sure, would say the same. 3-1 lead. Comfortable for Anezar, but he may well want to extend upon it. We saw Greek Freak maybe not get complacent, but we'll certainly say relaxed, choosing to hold possession rather than to attack. And that left him quite vulnerable there at the end. Varane getting the defending done for Anezar. That clearance perfectly played to the fullback. He'll go straight on the attack down this near side. Mbappe one-on-one versus Jimenez. Plays it inside. Great challenge by Varane. That's why you see him and Mendy in practically every team in Weekend League.
the sweatiest duo between the centre backs and left backs you can have. It's been an interesting performance from Anezar, considering that as a player that I believe prides himself on the fact that he makes such little mistakes. There have been a number of mistakes, both in possession and in his defense. Not nearly as faultless as we have seen from him in the past, but he still manages to maintain a 3-1 advantage in this game.
Into the 4th minute of 1 minute of stoppage time. Thankfully, it does come to an end there, and it does stay 3-1. Treaders, maybe it's the extra expectation now. Anezar, new to the E-League in its most recent season, after being a substitute player in Season 2. Now he's signed to Ground Zero Esports. He won the Summer Cup series last year. Perhaps it's just that weight of expectation that he didn't have before that's leading to some of these mistakes.
Potentially the pressure of knowing what he can play like is also weighing on him. He would always want, it was the same for Marcus as well. The pressure of wanting to be always at your absolute best, it just is not possible for any competitor, let alone for competitors from our region. But in saying that, Anezar is able to perform at such a high level and consistently as well because of the way he has mastered the patterns of defense and attack. And I would like to see him, as well as for Marcus as well, I'd like to see them both just back themselves a little bit more, be a little bit more decisive because they play their best FIFA when they don't overplay it. And I know it's a lot easier to say that than do it. Believe me, I try and be more decisive in my own game, and it's a lot harder to implement it. But for these competitors to take themselves to the next level, as we see some awesome reactions from Mr. X3, they'll need to be decisive and to play their game to the best that they absolutely can, and to trust themselves and trust their ability to score goals and to defend when it comes down to it.
Another bridge for you keeping count at home, by the way. I know we've talked about the skill moves being manipulated. There's always some things, Treaders, they're going to be that little bit more overpowered. How much time, how much energy would somebody like Anezar be putting into those on a week-to-week basis?
He would be spending quite a lot of time week to week. It would depend on whether a new patch comes out. If a new patch is released for the game, he would have to make the adjustments and potentially spend time in the skill moves arena, which I know is a favorite of Marcus Gomes. He's not even playing in this game, and we continue to talk about him. We're obsessed with him. But I know that using the skill moves arena and the practice scenarios can help you just develop as a player so much. And even when you're playing in friendlies, it gives you the opportunity to try out new things and to develop yourself as a player so that when you get into these competitions, you have it absolutely mastered. It's a classic saying, it takes 10,000 hours to develop absolute mastery of something, and to develop the mastery of a skill move. Well, getting those 10,000 hours would have to include not just matches, you'd have to include additional things such as friendlies, you got your skill move, practice scenarios as well. Even, I remember back in FIFA 20, you'd be able to go into a Team of the Week game and go into the practice scenarios there so you could use your own players. Unfortunately, we can't do that this year, but that's just another example of what the players have at their disposal as well.
They can make it look so easy, but don't you dare doubt for a moment the time spent invested in perfecting the skill moves and not just pulling them off, but knowing when to execute. It is a 3-1 lead to Anezar over Mr. X3. Again, how wonderful was it to see the scenes of passion there? Got himself fired up and then told himself to calm down. Unfortunately for him, Anezar scoring almost immediately after he was scored upon. However, a 2-goal lead, some say it's the most dangerous in football. Is it the case here in FIFA 21, in FIFA esports? Neymar playing it wider to St. Max. Back to Vieira, patience zone by Mr. X3, who is in full gamer mode. Look at the man leaning in. As I said, if you ever doubt how much this means to these competitors, you truly don't understand how much time has been put in to get to this stage. Wonderful defending again. It's good to see Mr. X3, like you perhaps suggested, Treaders, backing himself, not leaving much to the imagination. Because when this game is done, it is the loser bracket. You are out of this competition.
Absolutely. And we're seeing Anezar still dominating possession, dominating that ball in a dangerous area. But Mr. X3 holding out a couple of opportunities on the counter-attack. I'm not entirely sure how he's kept that one in that position. Number of players around him threatening to take the ball off him.
Ball into the area, met by an insta tackle by Varane, who played it across the face, but no damage done. Mbappe almost going past his man, but not quite, of course. Anezar in the white to Mbappe. Waiting. Now it's Neymar. Now it's St. Max. And now it's the back of the net. He was patient for as long as he could be. And that foot item truly is something else. And that extends the lead 4-1 on aggregate. Again, Mr. X3 quick in his defensive movements. Nice and fast in possession. But Anezar just too dominant. Just so clear with his own frame of mind what he wants to do. You see Mr. X3 getting the chance, and at a moment's notice, Treaders, you can have the chance and then it's gone, and you've hit it straight down the keeper. And at the other end, Anezar, can he make it 5 with a cheeky finish? It's on to the roof of the net, getting a little bit excited. Not sure if he should be pulling those out at 4-1 after we've just seen a comeback from 5-1 in the previous game.
I'm just hoping that one of those don't go in this tournament, because the moment one of those goes in, it's going to be clipped and straight up on Twitter and being discussed as the new meta way to finish, as we see Mr. X3 coming straight back down the other end and clawing his way back into this contest. Anezar has worn him down time and time again. But Mr. X3 still finding a way to keep himself in this contest.
Anezar taking his time now on the ball. He does not like to be scored upon. We saw him strike back in the first leg. No doubt he's already crafting his opponent's demise, trying the 1-2 passes, but fouling his opponents. Again, great to see Mr. X3 back into it. The webcam with a bit of stutter, but the passion still on display. He's going to need to hold on to that belief, Treaders. There's plenty of time to come back if he has the inclination and indeed the skill to back it up.
And he's showing that he does have the class to score the goals, but defensively, Anezar is just such a handful to deal with, as he has so much patience, so much time on the ball, and he's just waiting and waiting, and potentially waiting too long in that situation. I saw an open Neymar who could have fake shot it or even just turned with the ball and fired the shot away. But Anezar so good at winning that ball back and retaining possession, has done so once again.
Working his way forward, Neymar, the pass across to St. Max, excellent block. You feel like it might just be a matter of time until Anezar has that 3-goal advantage he craves. We're heading towards the end of the half here in the second leg. So much possession in dangerous places. Mr. X3, good enough to repel the attack. Fair enough, he's got a, dare I say, dangerous squad name. He's probably used to repelling dangerous attacks. If you know, you know. Cantona to Ronaldo. Back across. You're already seeing the reactions, so you feel like something's coming. And there it is, Cantona not getting a hold of possession as we hit the end of the half. Surely, Treaders, are you seeing enough from Mr. X3 to level this up? And if so, what could he be doing? What are the little things that he could tweak to leave it all out there on the digital pitch?
Simply ensuring that he's playing the high percentage passes as much of the time as he can. He plays very direct. When he has the ball, he wants to build up quickly, catch his opponent off guard. But when his opponent is Anezar, he ends up just simply making a pass that looks like it's there, but is simply not quite there. Anezar getting a little bit impatient in his attack as we were watching him waste a few opportunities. He's 2 goals up, and he should be able to just sit on the ball. I've not seen this from him in any of his previous events. Anezar, as a competitor, is known for the fact he will just sit on the ball and wait and wait and wait for you to make the mistake. Maybe Mr. X3 is making it look like he's making a mistake, but is not actually, and is baiting Anezar into making some of these passes or taking on some of these shots. But it will be interesting to see whether Mr. X3 continues to defend the way he has, or does he change up the way he defends, and does Anezar opt to go with a 5-man in midfield as well in order to keep more possession of the ball?
I wish you had mentioned it at the time in that last game. It's what you wanted to see Greek Freak do, I believe, to hold possession when things were getting interesting. Try and control the game and see it out. Maybe Anezar can heed that advice. 4-2 up. In a way, we've seen the competitors almost switch playing styles at times. Mr. X3 making less mistakes in possession, but it is Anezar who has just had so much more of the football, able to dominate his opponent without really scoring. And there it is. Anezar starting to lift the tempo, wanting to seize his moment, maybe overplaying it a little bit, but it works out rather nicely. This is R9. And again, it will go back to Vieira. Great ball to St. Max. And the pass is forced. Once again, I can only assume it's the added pressure of being on broadcast. You see what it means to these competitors. Only imagine what it's like. Not just in the moment, Treaders. I'm sure the competitors will be well aware if they do win. It's the small task of Marcus Gomes next up.
A small task indeed. And we're seeing Mr. X3, a couple of opportunities to use player luck, almost an opportunity to get that ball through. And Anezar opts to just hoof it down the other end, feeling a little bit of the pressure. And I'd love to see more competitors utilize the player lock that Greek Freak loves so much and that I love so much. It just simply allows you to control your player runs a little bit better, considering that the R1 button is also the bridge button and the agile dribbling. In certain situations, you don't want to be using either of those. As a through ball to the striker was on, but was not quite executed.
There you go, Treaders. Instantaneously, good to know they have the broadcast on in the background. Player lock system used, but only for a brief amount of time. It is, if nothing else, an impressive demonstration of Anezar to hold on to possession. And you see him marking those passing lanes so well. It might be getting a little scrappy. You can see a few comments in the Twitch chat saying, when's the next goal coming? There can't be goals all the time. And I'm sure if you've ever played at a reasonably high level, on LAN or indeed online, you'll know you need to make your big moments count. And Mr. X3, in his first broadcast event, is not out of this, Treaders, not by a long shot.
And just Anezar was just made to pay for the amount of times he sent that ball up the other end rather than being responsible when he was on the ball. I'm going to sound like a broken record by the end of the broadcast, and if you're not already sick of me saying things over and over again and repeating things and repeating myself, then you will be by the end of the 2 days. But the 4-5-1 is, in my opinion, the strongest formation for seeing out a result. You get 3 players in midfield to break up the play, as well as when you win that ball back, you have the options of keeping that ball, and you can simply play through the press. When team press is flicked on, your players get man-marked totally out of the play. As we see Anezar still sticking with a 4-4-2. Opts to whip that cross back post. And Mr. X3 coming down the other end. Because most players are playing with the 4-4-2, the 4-5-1 allows you to outnumber them in midfield.
Control the possession, control the game. Not happening here for Anezar. He does go forward. And you see X3 continually bring out those defenders. 4-3 on aggregate, but only a few IRL minutes remaining unless this can be sent to extra time. There is a foul, I'm sure much to the relief of Anezar, because he can take, if nothing else, Treaders, a little mental check.
A little break, a breather, to see if he can snatch one back. Still opting for a 4-attacker formation. Again, if you're looking to play on the counter attack or to use the press, I believe having 4 attackers is totally fine. But when it comes out to seeing a result, I think you should be bringing one of those players back into your midfield. That's something that the 4-2-3-1 does incredibly well. You have your 3 cams, obviously, but one of those cams can drop back into your midfield and allow you to keep possession of the ball at a greater rate.
For now, it's Anezar trying to force his way through, but Mendy too strong. The direct play will come out of X3. And Varane able to take out the isolated attacker. The cliche is out. The end-to-end FIFA is out. Letting that roll a little bit before picking up possession. Very nicely done. Lozano for Anezar. I dare say, may well just stick near this corner flag. Might not hang out there indefinitely, but you get the general gist. He wants the ball. He wants this 1-goal lead. He'd love to make it 2, but Neymar shoots straight at Oblak. Corner will be taken short. I've never been so sure of anything in my life. Anezar in this losers bracket. So many of us, commentators included, so surprised. Despite the tough draw to get here, Mr. X3 surprising many himself by making it this far. But unless he can score 1 more goal, that is it for him in this first qualifier here in Oceania. Can't find that pass forward. He does, to his credit, keep going forward. But now look at the space in behind. Anezar to finish off this game. Lovely ball roll and calm finish to complete the job. Mr. X3 with the shrug. Anezar, no doubt the most relieved person on the Twitch stream right now. And credit to him, securing his spot through to the next round.
And he can breathe a big sigh of relief. Mr. X3, take a bow. That was a very respectable performance from him as he sees the ball out of play to end this contest. Anezar would be a little bit frustrated with his performance in that one. He would not have wanted that to have been nearly as close, but in the end, he showed his class. He saw the game out. He held that ball in appropriate situations, and he deservedly secured the win.
A fantastic job by Anezar. Maybe a little bit more wild and a bit out of control than he would have liked, but he kept that football like it was his best friend. Mr. X3, no doubt you've made a few new friends. Congratulations on competing in your first broadcast event. We hope to see you in the other 2 qualifiers coming up. But to take you back through Anezar's success, it is Mike and Kyle.
Nate and Treaders, thank you so much for that one just there. Anezar coming out on top, just wasn't sure which way it was going to go. I'm joined by Mike LaBelle. Mike, what did you make of that game? I mean, Anezar was in full control, but there were some nervy moments.
It still felt like another day in the office to a certain degree. Like, I don't want to take anything away from X3 or Mr. X3 or X3 the X-Men or X-Men's X3 ability. But I think Nazir looked as if he was the more confident, more comfortable player throughout the majority of that matchup. It got a little bit more tense, a little tighter towards the end. But for the majority, if we go over first leg, second leg, it was all Nazir, which was what we all predicted for a reason.
We did indeed. We can see the highlights from the game just here. It was an early penalty, and this kind of set the tone in a way, Mike, for the game. We can see the frustration right there. I don't think we would be able to repeat whatever he was saying, Mr. X3. But Ronaldo stepped up, Anezar stepped up, and as I said, it did set the tone. It set the bar for the game. He was in full control. And Mike, I mean, what do you make of his attacking play, Anezar? He did seem in control with that one, but attacking-wise, he looked like he never gave up.
If we're talking about X3 here, I think that he showed a lot of passion and also a lot of emotion on cue. There's the passion. There's the celebration. Clearly means a lot to him. He's been grinding, new into the competitive scene. And this is one of your first glimpses of being in that final 8 competitors. You're dealing with the best of the best in your region. And he definitely showed that he'd be in that conversation. I mean, Anezar is not only someone who's in the pro scene, but someone that's had success to the point that he's won this region already. In fact, coming into this tournament, he might be the overall favorite. I know that Treaders has been building up constantly his man Greek Freak, and I'm not mad about that. I just think that he's so in love with player locks that he just can't get past it. But there's going to be new storytelling in general and new narratives. The more that esports grows with the FIFA community, we're just going to have more and more talent that I don't want to say was undiscovered, but just hadn't had a breakthrough year yet. And sometimes there's certain titles that fit into what you do naturally a little bit better. See the 90th minute classic closeout. You see the ball roll, opens up a slight angle, finesse shot, tucks it away. And that is what you call a sigh of relief.
It was indeed. We can see how these two matched up. The final score was 5-3 to Anezar. Anezar had 13 shots, 11 on target, 63.5% of the possession, 94% pass accuracy, and 20 tackles. Whereas Mr. X3 had 7 shots on target, 36.5, I should say, percent possession, 89.5% pass accuracy, 15 tackles right there. But there was one stat that does matter. It is that score line, 5-3. Now, it's a difficult position to be in the losers bracket, Mike, because it is do or don't. You've actually got to win or you go home. And Anezar, he's managed to do that. He goes through and hopefully he's full of confidence.
Is that the rebrand? I'm pretty sure it was do or die, but
I
do or don't. I guess we don't have to. Huh?
I didn't want to say that on the broadcast.
Oh, my bad. I'll make me the bad guy then. But either way, I told you before we got into these matchups, these are the ones that I live for. This is what I look forward to every time we do a broadcast, regardless of the region. I like the single elimination, win or go home, do or do not, do or don't, do or die. I don't know what I can say or not say, but I feel like I love the environment. I feel as if the ambiance has been almost lifted. We maybe start here with intensity, and as you get a little bit closer to not only increasing your funds, your pockets a little bit, getting yourself some additional global series points, and your own personal legacy just matters a little bit more, just inching upwards. And every time you go another round, especially in the losers bracket, you start to have a little more belief, like, I could do this. I could come up from the losers bracket. I could find myself into the grand final, and the intensity just goes with that. It almost matches, it aligns, and I'm with it. I'm here for it.
Oh, I can feel that ambience coming through the camera and the microphone to me in Manchester. We might be thousands of miles away, but it's nice that we can have that same feeling. Now, we can welcome Anezar into the broadcast after that win, beating Mr. X3 5-3 right there. And Anezar, I need to start with saying well done, great performance. You seem to be in full control for most of the game, but this is an open space. You can be honest. Were you nervous at any point?
No, I wasn't nervous. I honestly just felt like another friendly game. I've been in losers bracket that many times, so it didn't really feel that much different.
First off, congratulations. Anezar, I wanted to know, from last year where we had the Summer Cup series and going into this year, what has changed in your life? What has shifted? Because you went from being lesser known to then being a champion, and now you have to carry that kind of momentum and growth into FIFA 21 to go with esports and different organizations and partners, etc.
To be honest, it hasn't really changed much. I mean, like, I'm still grinding with the other boys, playing friendlies a lot. I've tried to take some time, like, by myself, just going out, trying not to stay home too much, because it's not like, I don't feel like it's too healthy just playing like all the time, because you need to give yourself a break, especially as a pro player. The breaks actually help. And so, yeah, I've been trying to give myself breaks, not trying to burn out, and yeah, it's actually been working.
You did just mention you've been in the losers bracket quite a lot, so it's something that you may be used to, but how does that mean that you have to adapt your style of play, knowing that if you do lose, then the competition's over for you?
Yeah, it's kind of a tough one. So, like, usually when I play, I don't really think about losing. If I lose, I lose. I can't do anything about it. Like, GG's to the opponent, but I just play my game. If I win, then we're on top.
I love that right there. And I've got another question. It's nothing to do with FIFA, but I've got to point this out. The bedding behind you, that's very funky right there. I'm liking
yeah, we don't got
that.
the table tennis anymore.
Yeah.
We're in my room now, so we've got a nice little bedroom in the back. Nice little bed, so yeah.
No, it's quite cool. Bringing it back to the FIFA action. Obviously, we've talked so much about that Summer Cup series. Does it add pressure onto you? Do you feel that pressure coming into these tournaments now?
Not really, to be honest. Like, I mean, I know I sort of should have. I should feel some pressure, but like, I don't know. It's a bit different this year because it's more, since everything is online. It's like, it's I don't know. It's just the vibe is a bit different. So like, I just feel like I'm just playing another friendly, like another practice match. I know there's a lot at stake, but still, it just feels the same, to be honest.
Well, good luck with the rest of the tournament. You go into that day number 2 right there, facing Marcus Gomes. We shall see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
There we have it. Anezar, after beating Mr. X3 5-3, he does go into the next round. He faces Marcus Gomes. And Mike, we're continuing this theme of new school versus old school, and it should be a great matchup.
That definitely opens the day up for tomorrow, where you've got now two of the most well-known players. And you're right, it's still that new guy with Nazir, who showed a lot of promise at the end of last year's season. And then Gomes kind of on a comeback trail. And it sounds wild when you're looking at a competitive player and you're already in the top 6 in your region to say it's a comeback trail, but just because he has such an expectation of always reaching the finals, or at least, or even winning out his region, and coming off last year, which was a underperforming or underwhelming season for his own expectations, Gomes wants to win this. For sure, he wants to see himself come up from the losers bracket and reestablish that he's one of the top guys, if not the top guy.
He does indeed. Right, we are continuing our matchups in that losers bracket. We've got Sippy FC taking on Mark 11 coming up for you guys very, very shortly. We'll see you after this break.
FIFA Global Series 21 Oceania Qualifier 1 is brought to you in part by Turtle Beach.
Hello and welcome back to the FIFA 21 Global Series Oceania Qualifier number 1. My name is Kyle Walker and I'm joined by Mike LaBelle. It's the final matchup of the day coming up very, very shortly. And Mike, what a day it's been. I always say this, but it never fails to provide us with excitement and some quality FIFA.
I don't want to jinx it, but every event that I've seen or taken part in this year has included a lot of back and forth, late goals, early goals, lots of goals, not many clean sheets. Because we've seen different years of competitive FIFA where depending on the game and then also the speed of the game, sometimes the meta ends up being a lot more about holding the ball, working the possession angle. And that just has not been the case whatsoever in FIFA 21. It's definitely a big shift from last year's installment to this year's game. And if we keep that trend going, happy days. I like seeing goals. I like talking about goals. I like analyzing goals.
And if you at home like watching all the goals, well, we've got some rewards for you, but it's a little bit different this year. Yes, during the FIFA 21 Global Series, you have complete control of your own viewership rewards. For the first time, you'll receive guaranteed rewards for watching the best FIFA players in the world compete at the highest level. And all you've got to do is link your Twitch and EA accounts, watch at least an hour of FIFA 21 Global Series competitions live on Twitch on these select weekends, and you'll receive one FIFA Global Series swaps token per weekend. Now, I will add, make sure you don't tweet us. 7 days, that's what you've got to wait, all right? 7 days, and they will definitely appear in your account, okay? These tokens are redeemable in repeatable SBCs in FIFA Ultimate Team with some great pack rewards up for grabs. Now, the more tokens you earn by watching on eligible weekends, the more flexibility you'll have to decide which rewards you get. So don't miss out. Make sure you do link those Twitch and EA accounts, watch the FIFA 21 Global Series and redeem your rewards. Now, for this weekend, we've got something extra special for you as well. If you're watching this right now, if you're here for over an hour, well, you also get yourself a complexity team crest and complexity tifo by making sure those accounts are linked. All right, so make sure the most important thing you do is link your Twitch and EA account to make sure that you receive these rewards. Right, Mike, we've talked about all the FIFA action so far today, and we've got one final matchup to come. This one right here, another losers bracket matchup. Sippy FC taking on Mark with a double K11. And I'm hoping that it's going to provide us with just the same amount of entertainment as the previous games.
This is a more difficult matchup to call as well, because in all the previous games that we've seen today, we've either known both competitors or one of the two competitors really well. We've seen them on the competitive scene, we're watching their results, their live streaming. Either way, there's content being generated, but both with Sippy and Mark, these guys are newer to being in this type of position, and it makes it more difficult to really guesstimate what we're going to get from even a gameplay perspective. We knew with some of the previous games, even the style of play. Oh, this guy's more defensive. This guy sits deep. This guy's really gifted at skills. We heard all about the player lock from Treaders and player lock and Treaders. But with both Sippy and Mark, it's a little more of a toss-up. But I do see Sippy, born in '94. He's putting on for the old men, 442, Chelsea FC, FIFA 2001 first FIFA title. That's even before me. I was a 2004 guy. When were you? Kyle, tell us, when were you for first FIFA?
Oh, if I'm really honest, I think it was 99. I wasn't very good because I just remember, playing it loads and then moving forward. I want to say 04 was when I started to take it quite seriously. So like you, obviously not as serious as you because you were just better than me at that one. So yeah, for me, I was there quite early, and then I've just kind of been bobbing along ever since because I'm not that good at it. I'm going to be honest. I'm not. I need all the hints and tips and tricks from you guys. That's why I love working with you, Mike LaBelle, because I can learn from you. Now, something that's quite interesting in this one is Mark is 10 years younger than Sippy FC. As you pointed out, Sippy was born in 94, Mark in 2004, and his first FIFA title was FIFA 17. So he's only really been at this for, what is it, for 4 years now?
He must have just got into the Foot Champs era then, because that's when a lot of people really got introduced to competitive FIFA. is when we had the weekend league in 2017, and then we started to have regionals, and then from there it's pivoted and adjusted and transitioned positively each year, where we've had different ways of restructuring even the formats. If you recall, FIFA 17, you used to draw randomly into groups. It wasn't a Swiss stage. In order to kind of get into tournaments, which was very difficult to know what's going to happen. There's luck of the draw, of course. That's where that word comes from, or that phrase, excuse me. But I'm really happy with the progression. And I bet you, we might get a chance to talk to Mark or see how he does in this game. I would be willing to wager that Mark got into competitive FIFA via, of course, FIFA 17, FIFA 18, and watching these guys in the esports world. And then he said, wait a second, I think I could do this. I got potential, and then worked his way up to being good enough. And that's why we're seeing the introduction of Mark in the competitive world.
Well, who knows? We might be able to chat to him a little bit later on. Let's bring Nate and Treaders into the conversation right here. Let's jump straight into predictions. I don't want any fluff around it or anything like that. I just want a name from you all right? Treaders, I'm going to start with you. Who's winning this matchup?
Mark.
Okay, Nate, next up, who are you going for?
Just a name? Mark. Just the way that he's typed it. No worries.
And Mike LaBelle, what about yourself? Are you sticking
No
with that
fluff,
trend?
no fluff, just concrete. Mark.
Ooh, okay. I'm going to make it a full house. I'm going to go with Mark as well. Nate and Treaders, it's over to you guys.
You're all sheep, myself included. Thank you very much, Kyle and Mike. Welcome to our last game of day one. Of course, we will be back tomorrow for Championship Sunday. My name is Nate PTK. I'm joined by Jay Treaders, and we predicted Mark Treaders just having a look at what he's done to get here. But it is quite a lovely story that Sippy has had to get to this point, being a Gold 1 player as recently as last season.
That man has put in an insane grind, not only in his gameplay side of things, but also on the content side of things. He continually posts content to Twitter, to YouTube. He sets the standard for this region in regards to how to go about developing yourself as not only as a player, but also as a content creator, because there's only so much that being a pro player can provide for you, but being a content creator can just elevate yourself to the next level. And when you're a player of Sippy's ability and developing yourself to the level that he has and analyzing your gameplay to that level, then that's when the perfect mix of content and being a pro player collide.
The loser bracket, round 1, match 2 underway. Sippy FC versus Mark. Solid little alphabet team name there with the ABCDEFC. Respect it. Mark's just with that little bit more youth, and again, doing well to progress to get to this point. But we said, Sippy, it's lovely to see him progress to his first broadcast event with that big following on YouTube. Go sub to him. Why not? We'll give him a free plug. He's now 26 years of age. Really decided last season, being a Gold 2, Gold 1 player, that he would start going in depth, analyzing and getting into it. The best quote, I believe, from the blog post I have typed out here in my notes, so hopefully I haven't gotten it wrong. We'll hold it until this attack's done. Looking to go inside the area. Mbappe blocked, goes to the player. He's going to be offside. The quote being that it is incredibly difficult at 26-year-olds trying to tell your girlfriend of 5 years that you're going to become a better FIFA player and spend a lot of time on it. Well, I hope she's still with you and that she's seen the endeavor, because we certainly have. And your hard work has played to this point. Can he progress to Championship Sunday, or will Mark have something to say about that?
And being a broadcasted FIFA player is something that barely anybody can say, and no one can take it away from you from this point. Sippy's road to this point included knocking out one of my own players in Direwolves, Dylan. Something that I was quite disappointed about. Sorry, he actually did not. That was Mark who knocked out Dylan. I'm just a little bit obsessed with Mark and his game style being the amount of step overs he uses. But Sippy, he has his way of attacking, He has the patterns that he wants to use and will continue to use them over and over until you make a mistake. Quite structured in his approach to the attack.
Coming back on the attack here, Pele getting the ball out in front of him. Defender standing off, falling into a bit of a pattern right now, isn't it? Very deep defending. No through balls on offer. It has to be passed back, around, recycled. Sanchez to Blanc. Getting it back here, and then the eventual deflection. Just look how deep that line is. And the defensive midfielders helping out as well.
And not only is Mark a big user of stepovers, he's quite a prominent pro clubs player as well, similar to Nayla. And this FIFA is very much leaning into their capacity to attack and score goals in a variety of situations. And we're seeing now Mark going on the attack. And if I can quickly go back to Dylan's matchup, Dylan was unfortunately 45 minutes away. He was up a couple of goals, and Mark still managed to pull it back, which is why I predicted for Mark to win this contest. I think he will have what it takes on the attacking end, even if he might be a little bit weaker defensively than a number of our other competitors. He'll have what it takes to score the goals required to beat Sippy.
Old man gang, hoping that you're wrong and that it is indeed Sippy that can take the W. Working so hard to get here. Bringing out the skills to get into the area, but advancing no further. Mark is going to have to make the most of his counter-attacks if he's happy to concede that much possession and space. Paul Pogba to Blanc being used by both competitors, interestingly. Again, as talked about with this format, these competitors are using their own teams. Sometimes people get a little bit jelly on Twitter and Twitch with the teams being used. Well, they've worked hard to get them. Pack luck, I'm sure, as well. And it is part of the game that we love so much. We'll go more in depth with some of these players tomorrow, being the in-game players rather than the competitors. Maybe some of the budget ones you can use to flesh out your squad. A few SBC players in there as well. I saw Mendy getting to a very advanced position, but also very central. He's got a little bit of a shot on him, but certainly not in your top 4 or 5 options that you'd be hoping take the shot on goal. First half is flying by. Again, falling into that pattern of Sippy dominating possession and territory. Mark just trying to absorb before springing on the counter-attack. Lovely ball inside. Good block. Falls to Pele. And we'll go again, Treaders.
And we're seeing just Sippy really controlling this game. I'd like to see a little bit more once he gets into the box. A little bit more variety. Make Mark make more decisions and punish him for when he makes the wrong decision. But in this current situation, it's just a matter of having possession in kind of dangerous areas, but the moment he gets into the more dangerous areas, he's not doing too much with that ball.
We'd love to have a sneaky look at half-time as to the formation being used by Mark. I almost feel like it could be a 5 at the back, or if it's not, he's getting one of those defensive mids to drop in between the lines, more or less create the 5 at the back, as we have no goals because Mike LaBelle went out and said we've had so many goals in good games. I was going to say that that's because Treaders and I are now on the broadcast team. You're very welcome. We bring positivity and goals here down under. None so far in this first half. Do you think Mark needs to change anything up here, Treaders? Or will he be happy to continue with the game plan that has seen 43% of the possession played in his defensive third?
I think he'd be quite happy to see him out. Maybe a change in player instructions. Maybe he doesn't have his wide players on get into the box on these instructions. I think for Mark, once he gets into possession of the ball, he may be well served to get his defensive mids a little bit more involved in his attack. At the moment, they're sitting very, very deep, which is resulting in Sippy being able to isolate his players and cut out the passing lanes. When that defensive mid comes up a little bit higher, it creates quite a bit of a more positive chance.
The duel continues. Maybe Mark can make the most of his possession from the kickoff. Neither competitor in full gamer mode just yet, sitting back looking rather calm, rather chill. It has just gone past midnight here on the southeast coast of Australia, so competitors probably not quite too tired yet in esports time, gamer time, as Mike LaBelle might say. And I think he will enjoy some possession here, Treaders. Passing it round the back without any real intent, but maybe just growing into this contest in his first broadcast event.
And we saw that defensive mid pushing up to create the space, to create the passing angles for the striker and the cam. And this is a dangerous corner, a situation where Mark will create a shot for himself directly from that short corner. But Sippy defending well, holding out. Opportunity for slight counter, but nearly gave that ball away to Mark.
I can only imagine how the nerves are. You heard Anezar before, great to hear from the competitors, talking about how he felt like it was almost any other friendly, but then mentioning at the end of that interview that he got a little bit nervous when he realized the extent of the situation, and Sippy truly realizes how big of a moment this is for him. The cross, the first one we've seen today, and indeed the first goal. He takes the lead in our last game of the day.
And you love to see the passion from that man. Sippy showing what it means to him, standing up, letting out a massive yell. And a well-deserved goal in that situation. It wasn't possession for possession's sake. It was possession with intent.
Mark is going to need to find a bit of that himself now. Down this near side, some step overs. Mbappe isolates the defender, unable to get past. Sippy wisely sitting off, waiting for the move to be made. Now gets the football back. He's been the only competitor so far today to start and use the 4-2-3-1, which feels weird to say out loud, to be honest. It was the formation for so long. Competitors favoring the extra striker rather than the attacking mid behind the striker. Sippy's going old school. He is the oldest competitor competing today. He's trying to make it two. Player coming back from an offside position with just a third of this first leg remaining.
And as a player who is a student of the game is Sippy, he would have the total understanding of how important it is to be able to control the ball. And that's what the 4-2-3-1 does so incredibly well. It's arguably the best formation to use in real life, as we see space for Mark to finish. And he does. He's leveled the score with absolute aplomb.
Mbappe is the man for the job. And Mark, with 2 R's and 2 K's, makes it 1-1. 2 goals in this contest. Yes, there will be a second leg. Don't go anywhere after this game, particularly if it's still level. A few twists and turns, no doubt, to come. After some of the swashbuckling play we've seen from the more seasoned competitors, clearly the newer kids on the block are happy just to keep a bit more possession before making those moves inside. Mark again, almost in a bit of a stupor, sitting back there. Happy to go into his zone, and it is so important, Treaders, to find your happy place, if you like. Find the bit where you can stay calm and composed and get into a rhythm as much as you can on a stage like this.
Mark happy to pass the ball between his two defensive mids, getting them a lot more involved than he was initially in the game, which is giving him more possession in dangerous areas. But Sippy holding out well, but that's a very dangerous turnover. But Mark, with no players making too many aggressive runs, is essentially attacking from as if he never lost the ball.
10 in-game minutes, less so remaining in this first leg. Sippy taking the lead before Mark fights back. Mark applying a little bit of pressure, leaving space in behind. Mendy's quick, but he won't catch Mbappe. Varane forced to come out, so Mbappe takes him inside. Look at this from Sippy. Neymar, the ball to the back stick, and Blanc is there to make the clutch header, and Mark will take the pause. No doubt was nervous as all get out on that occasion.
A couple of chances there for Mark to absolutely demolish Mbappe when he was through on goal, but he opted to back himself to see out the opportunity. Sippy will be shaking his head a little bit at himself for not capitalizing on that opportunity, because Mark has been so solid in this half, especially in possession, that he may not get too many more chances like that. And Mark building into the final moments of this first leg.
The last chance, it seems, for this first leg will be with Mark. Dribbling in, he's still going, you know, before that cutback comes. The extra pass probably wasn't on. The customary boot out of play to finish this game. And Treaders, we are no closer to knowing who will be advancing through to Championship Sunday.
And we saw Sippy with a towel at the ready, just drying his hands off from the sweat of the contest. I really liked what we saw from Mark in that second half. Obviously, a little bit of nerves to start the contest, but as time went on, we saw what he's capable of. In possession of the ball, he's just so efficient and effective at creating space, creating chances, recycling that ball through his midfielders. We saw a lot of 1-2s with his defensive mids, with his central midfielders, and just using those two midfielders as a block to create space by passing between them and finding the through ball.
Good to be here in the digital arena. Shout out to Brooklyn, who very quickly photoshopped some cups on these tables for us to have a little bit of a game after the stream. And if you're watching along, maybe playing a bit of FIFA, you too can win today. Maybe not in this tournament, but through Turtle Beach. We mentioned at the top of the show, there was a way that you could win, maybe get your hands on a Turtle Beach headset. Well, we are almost ready to reveal that hashtag to you, the hashtag you can use to enter the competition. I'm gonna wait until we're ready to reveal it. There we go, baby. The hashtag reveal is out there. The FIFA 21 Global Series Oceania Qualifiers are brought to you in part by Turtle Beach. Follow at Turtle Beach on your screen there and tweet using the hashtag Hear the Sound of Victory. There it is one more time. Hear the Sound of Victory for your chance to win a Stealth 600 Gen 2 headset. Thank you very much to Turtle Beach for bringing out the love and the support of FIFA esports that we love to talk about. I was going to say, Treaders, I've got the Australia jersey on today. It is the Oceania Qualifiers. Many more people competing just from Australia, but only 8 making it through to the final 8. Do you think this region is getting what it deserves? Is it about time we started hearing a bit more about these competitors when we've got 2 in the likes of Sippy and Mark that were basically unknown heading into this qualifier?
Absolutely. I think as a region, we are incredibly underrepresented. I think I don't want to go on to a rant too much, and I'm hoping
Go for it. Rant away, Treaders.
I want to rip into our local league. I think that we don't get enough representation, and a lot of the players and competitors would agree with me that our local league just simply does not do enough to recognize how good our competitors are and how many people actually care about our players in our region. And dare I say, when we come to comparing it to our National Football League.
Maybe one day, Treaders. The good news is we are so grateful again to Turtle Beach, to EA, the broadcast team, for giving us this show. Regional qualifiers, we absolutely love it, where we see the best competitors on display. Mark, Sippy getting their opportunities. We are deadlocked at 1-1 after this first leg. Do you feel like maybe there was a bit of nerves from Mark in that first half? Didn't seem to really want to try and force possession. It was almost until that second half where he got the ball from kickoff that he started to show us a bit more of what he's got.
Absolutely. He was a lot more composed in that second half. He waited for his opportunities to craft his goals. To start with, we saw him using all the skill moves, bringing everything out, being so expansive in possession. But when it comes down to it, if you can't break down your opponent in possession, you're not going to be able to score goals. And he focused on that in the second half and got his goal back to level things up. I think he'll look to use the skill moves a lot more efficiently, use less of them, but indeed use them in situations where they'll be most beneficial to him.
What a wonderful platform this qualifier is to get our nation's players out there, our competitors of the finest caliber, matching those from around the world. We've seen the likes of Marcus Gomes, Marco. Now we're on to the newcomers of the scene, Sippy and Mark. Player just offside on that occasion. What a joy it is to be able to bring you this action from Australia to around the world. It is our last game of the day. These competitors looking to put their best foot forward. Sippy FC just tracking back that passing lane. I thought he might go inside there for a moment, Mark. But he's learning those earlier lessons, when to pass and when to hold. Dare say he'll go across here. He does indeed. Mbappe gets the little bit of space. Lovely move, and the finish is even better. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what competitors from Australia can do. What a sensational finish.
Bravo, Mark. That was an absolutely stunning goal. That has to be goal of the day. I know we've seen some absolutely spectacular goals, but I think between Nayla and Mark, that's a matchup I'd love to see. The skill moves, the presence of mind to execute that skill chain. I think there's 5, 6 different skill moves incorporated in that chain, and that was just beautiful to watch, because not only it wasn't spam, it wasn't just doing whatever it takes to score a goal, and as we see Sippy bringing it straight back off the kickoff, but Sippy using a little bit of Mark letting his guard down. I think lavishing in that stunning goal a little bit too much, as I was, and getting a goal back to level things up once again.
I've always felt like that's the mark of that's a pun that's not intended, the mark of a good competitor, when you can strike back immediately. You know, the old kickoff OP thing used to be a thing. Doesn't feel like it's that way anymore in FIFA 21. It's more down to the competitors themselves really switching on and meaning business. The analogy of poking a bear comes to mind. Sippy not happy to have conceded that and indeed squandered the lead that he had. It's back at 2-2 as he continues on. St. Maximin to Renato Sanchez, Mbappe, Neymar, some of the meta players in FIFA 21. Blanc a little less so, but you're happy if you get him as your icon. Lovely pass inside Pele. He's just looking for that one-on-one isolation, so he goes wider to Neymar. Mendy is there to make the challenge, and Mark holds on a little bit further.
And Mark will be looking to hit Sippy on the counter-attack. As good as he is in possession, I think an accidental flick up there. But as good as he is in possession, he'll be looking to get that ball forward quickly. I'd like him to be a little bit more decisive once he gets into the box and hit a couple more first-time shots. But if those opportunities don't arise, he can create his own shot for himself.
This is Neymar for Mark, back to Blanc. Looking for his avenue of success. There's a man out wider. Deflects off the defender, Alisson, who we haven't seen used particularly often today, making the easy save. Interested to see how many of you have voted for Alisson in your team of the year. Let us know on Twitter. You can find us rather easily. Nate PTK, J Treaders, we'd love to have a look. I've put mine out there into the world, mostly just to make some people cranky. Jack Grealish, anyone? My favourite player to watch on form in the Premier League. Back in the moment, it is 2-2, your last game of the day. The loser bracket, round 1, match 2. The loser will go home because they're already home. More importantly, they'll be knocked out of this competition. The winner advancing to Championship Sunday. It really is all to play for.
And we're seeing now Sippy going end to end. Dealt with that press a little bit more shakily than he would have liked, but he dealt with it nonetheless, and now he has space out wide, a 4-on-3 situation, and Mark's able to recover a little bit better than Sippy would have liked. And we're seeing Sippy retain possession, recycle, and go again.
Taking his time around the outside. He wants to go byline. You can see him wanting to head back. Pele now. Lovely step overs into the area. Mbappe with a flashy pass, if you don't mind. Neymar. Fake shot into the area now. It's all a little tight, central and congested. Cancelo tries to boot it away. It's off St. Max. And calmly for a goal kick.
Some of these goal kicks have been a little bit hairy, to say the least. I thought Sippy was going to give that ball away up the other end before, but he did not.
Last chance of the half. About to come, you would think. He cannot get it out of there, Mark. Sippy will get a free kick. Oceania, will you put your name up there as the first region to take it directly? Not going to happen. With no time really remaining and plenty of players in the box. I feel like this is going one way. Off Blanc, and we'll get a corner. We don't know how many minutes have progressed, but it must feel like an age for Mark. Back to Pele. Surely now he gets it clear. Indeed he does. We can take a breath. Treaders, we are no closer to finding out who's going through tomorrow and who indeed is about to be knocked out.
And that's not for the lack of having the ball in good areas. It is definitely for the lack of shots, as we're seeing only one apiece, and that was the goals that were scored. I think that something that is different between these two competitors, and I think that even the rest of the competitors we've seen so far today, is that they're a little bit relaxed when it comes to taking shots on with the weak foot of their attacker. We saw Sippy with space for the left foot of Pele to take this shot on, but opted to try and cut it back to the right. And that just means you're a little bit more predictable. It means that your opponent can simply jockey onto the right foot as if they're a 3-star, 2-star weak foot. I know when you use the likes of Salah, Di Maria, and even Robin, you're essentially limited in what you can do. But when you have a 4-star weak foot, especially in this FIFA, the percentages are definitely in your favor when you're using the Pelés, the Mbappés, the Neymars. Well, Neymar is obviously 5-star weak foot, but the Pelés and Mbappés, you have so much more capability and so much more threat when you do fire with the left foot.
Can I be honest with you, Treaders? I feel like even a lower star weak foot isn't so much of a big deal as it used to be. I think of Salah, Traore even, with finishes that I
Traore
simply,
is a great example.
yeah, would not expect with their weaker foot. I'll be honest, I've got vanilla Gold Traore back in my weekend league team as I save coins for team of the year. And he's doing better than Salah was. Back in the real time though, Sippy stands up, literally flexes on the competition and regains his lead in this tie.
He had to have been listening to us there. He's hit that with the left foot of Mbappe. Mark covering the back stick, covering the right foot, and the left foot of Sippy using his Mbappe pays off.
We saw Mark go behind before. It really brought the best out of his attacking play. Decided to keep going forward as opposed to just holding possession around the back. Good tackle, however. Possession trading feet before Sippy with that extra man in midfield. You see that there, that central cam in the perfect spot to receive that ball. There he is again. You wonder if these competitors really are of the same caliber, cut of the same cloth. It may well just be the formation that is the difference. Sippy unable to complete the final pass with 30 in-game minutes remaining.
A nice attack building up right now for Mark. Plenty of space for his players. He could have kept on going there with Neymar, but twists, turns, space for his Mbappe to hit it with his left, and he does! Mark has brought it back to 3-3, and he refuses to let himself go out of this competition.
Let's just sit for a moment and enjoy. And then maybe, just like Sippy did, take a sip of water and buckle in. The last game of the day looks to be an absolute belter. The lead being traded. Scoreline at 3-3. Just when it looked like Sippy had maybe got the momentum. As I mentioned, Mark with that bit of extra focus. Some more positive passing. And the finish to boot. As soon as Treaders talks about the weak foot, don't sleep on it. It's still quite powerful. Competitors seem to remember. Who would have thought? 20 or so in-game minutes left, as you saw before. And if you're new to FIFA esports, competitive FIFA, we will go to extra time if scores are still level on aggregate. And then the dreaded penalty shootout if it's level after the additional in-game 30 minutes.
And we have to remember that the winner of this contest goes through to take on Atlantide Marco in the next round if they happen to win this.
I might as well just get knocked out now if that's me. Coming up against Marco, you must think, what have I done to deserve that? But that's how strong this region is, how strong it has become. First it was Marcus, then it was Marco. I'm sure they'd love just to make it through to that next stage. Challenge coming in, ball going out of play. Maybe it's time for some fresh legs. Felix actually isn't that tired, but Son being preferred. A bit more of an attacking option, certainly excellent lethal finishing. Weak foot not an issue with Sonny. Hernandez and Mendy switching sides just because. Maybe a little tweak to the custom tactics, Treaders.
I'm not sure how big a fan I am of Son in his current form, the 88 in form. I think that he's just still a little, his first touch is a little bit suspect. And I think when you're playing against a player who will be on you in a flash and playing at these competitive levels, that can make such a large difference, as we see Mark simply kick the ball out of play on a first-time driven pass.
Also gives up a little bit in raw speed. What he does do excellently, Sonny, is finish that football. He will give you goals. I know R-Bait Club Clifford would be backing me on that. They love a bit of Son. Tottenham fans as well, saying finally we get a bit of love. We don't get any with Harry Kane that much. Wish you got Rule Breaker, to be fair. We move on. 10 minutes in-game remaining. Will this deadlock be broken? It is Sippy looking to regain the lead. He's had twice. Renato Sanchez to Pele. That's a little predictable, but Pele keeps it. The back heel. What a block by Mark. And then the offside. Sensational use of manual defending to get the player in the way of that shot.
Interesting to note about the players who really focus on pro clubs and their ability to create in that game mode is that when you're playing pro clubs, you don't control more than one player, obviously. And so the player switching is just a whole other aspect that has to come into play when you play Ultimate Team, and is where a number of them struggle in defense. And we saw just then from Mark, his player switching wasn't quite on the money in that situation, a little bit too slow, but Sippy, unfortunately for him, was unable to capitalize on the mistakes made in player switching. I think that's a difference we'll see between these two competitors, is their ability to player switch. And if you can't player switch well, you may as well kiss your chances of winning or even making to a competitive event goodbye.
Only a few minutes left of regular time. Waiting maybe for this last chance. We've seen how many stoppage time goals. Is it something in the game or is it all mental? I'll let you decide. This is Son. Pogba holding it up. Here we are. This is your last chance. Mbappe going inside. Gets the shot on the right foot. And to finish off the day, we find the winning goal mark. With a celebration to the heavens, Mbappe gets it done, and Mark is through to Championship Sunday. What a fit, Treaders. We're right back on that screen. I'd love to soak in some of that emotion. You feel for Sippy there, who surely must have been thinking about extra time.
Absolutely. You just can't let a player of Mark's attacking caliber sit on the ball for that long. It's just inevitable that once he gets into that final third and he's locked in as he was, he will create the chance to score those goals. That was simply incredible. All the goals Mark scored were absolutely stunning. He was so unpredictable and so creative in the way he created the chances. Full credit to him. He deserved that result. He seems to play better coming from behind. He did the same against Dylan. He's done it here against Sippy. Congratulations to Mark.
Sippy FC, we've plugged your YouTube channel enough, so hopefully that's something for you. More importantly, congratulations on making your first broadcast event. I have no doubt that we're going to see some more of you during this FIFA 21 competitive season. From Jay Treaders and myself, Nate PTK, those are today's games done. But to catch you up on what's happened here on day one, it is the one, the only, Kyle Walker, and of course, Mike LaBelle.
Nate and Treaders, thank you so much for that. Thank you for everything throughout the day as well. Mike LaBelle is joining me here. And Mike, what a game it was. A little bit different to the ones that we've had throughout the rest of the day. Very calculated. That's how I'll call this one.
I am happy with that result because I was saying I look forward to these games. Everything has been on point, and often you have the curse of the commentator, or in our case, the host, pundit, presenter, whatever it might be. It doesn't live up to the hype, but it did! This is a send-off of all send-offs, and I like how you said calculated, because I would agree, especially considering that Mark is so young. You often see more of that free flow, very attacking base, not always as organized, but this game was very much so structured, as you see the stop, the pop, the equalizer, fake shot, Kylian Mbappe. Many people want to see him in the team of the year. I don't blame you. I understand. And same with Neymar. And it's going to be real debatable. We talked about team of the year, but I think there's going to be quite a dilemma between people that want to see players that maybe earned it on the actual pitch and players they'd rather have on the virtual pitch. As you see a big smile there from Mark. But this game had the makings of a classic. It was back and forth. There's a lot of action. There were goals. There were conceding. There were emotions. And it ended up going to the 90th.
It did indeed, and it wasn't until this second leg here. We still didn't know which way it was going to go. But it was in the final few moments. It was still a draw. It was still very, very close. And the action was back and forth, Mike, as we see. More goals were going in. And at one point we thought Sippy FC was going to take this. And then Mark would respond, as we're about to see just here. And as you said, it did take until going right until the very, very end, right until the final few minutes in this game. 90 minutes, there was 1 minute of extra time, but it was Mark who kept his composure, kept his cool, wasn't afraid to bide his time, and he got the win in the very end right there. And we can see the celebration, the 1 finger point right there, the relief. Look at him. He looks relieved. Definitely looked relieved right there. And Mike, I guess sometimes it's about biding your time. It's about waiting until you take your moment, and then you just go for it.
Well, in FIFA 21 in particular, especially when you get into the final third, you have to force the defender to make a decision. And often that takes multiple skill moves to try to bait a tackle or a misposition, so you can have yourself a slight competitive advantage, and that's where you see the goals. And that's what you saw in the 90th as well from Mark. So you got to give him a lot of credit for having that composure, especially being such a young guy, first time on the competitive stage, and to wait, because we saw him go out with the La Croqueta, the defender didn't go, then you saw him turn back around, you had the scoop turn, re-angled, and he scores the winner, and you see the points pointing to the sky. I love that celebration in general. When you hit that one in FIFA, it definitely feels good.
It definitely does. Right, we can introduce Mark into the broadcast here. The FIFA 21 Global Series Oceania Qualifier #1. I can still see the smile on your face there, Mark. You definitely look pleased with yourself. What was the key in winning that matchup? Because it was very close.
Yeah, it was it was a cagey affair. Like, I knew coming into it was going to be a close game, and I just had to like make the most out of my chances. I wanted to like not lose it cheaply, just like that last attack in the 90th minute. I'd wasted like 8 minutes on the clock, and then I went for it in the 90th.
And with you being really young, new to the competitive scene, what do you kind of want people to know? Because this goes out to thousands upon thousands of people. A lot of them never heard of you, don't know a lot about your gameplay, you as a person. Like, what would you want people to know right now about Mark?
Just that like I'm capable of doing a lot of things at a young age by putting a lot of practice into the game and just knowing what I want to do and achieve.
I like that. I like the confidence that's oozing from you right there, Mark. What have you learned so far being in the competitive scene? Because it's all well and good doing it at home. It's all well and good doing it at Weekend League. But here you are having to do it from home in the competitive scene as well. What have you learned?
It's very different and difficult compared to Weekend League when you play 30-0s and Elite 1s, compared to coming into like an event like this and then playing against a very good opponent, holds possession and stuff, so it's difficult.
I mean, I'm going to say I don't know what you mean by Elite 1 or 30-0. I've never done it. I've never been able to do that, all right? So I can't relate on that one right there. But, Mike, it is great to see so much young talent coming through. We've talked about this new school. How does it feel for you as one of the oldies?
I don't like how you just keep aging me as if you're not knocking on the door. Like, we're in the same ballpark, my brother. And I have Elite 1 finishes all over the record and the resume. But I'm always happy to see new faces. I feel what's great about competition is that it doesn't matter any of the outside factors. Whatever else is happening in your life, it really doesn't matter. When it comes to competition, you either get the wins, you get the results, you don't. You control your destiny. And I have a follow-up question for you as well, Mark, is who were your competitive influences? Because I feel like most guys, when they get into the competitive scene, they usually have a few guys that they're like, I like the way this guy plays, or how he carries himself, or that's what really inspired me.
Yeah, mainly just like Nayla, Mike J, and then Anezar. Like we got a pretty similar game style, skill moves, keep it quick and simple, and then score at the end. I really like look at their gameplay, analyze it, and then try to put it into my game.
Incredible that right there. So well done to you. I know your phone is going off right now, but it must be late where you are in the world. It's bedtime.
Yeah.
You've got a big day ahead of you tomorrow. All right, Mark, congratulations. We will see you on Championship Sunday.
Thank you very much.
Now, Mike, it puts a smile on my face seeing the smiles on the competitor's face when at such a young age you're able to showcase your talent to the world. You said there's so many people watching. That comes with a lot of pressure, but when it goes in your favor, you must be on top of the world.
Indeed, but I felt like also from speaking to him that he feels the job's not done, which is very important. He's not just happy to be here, and he had very mature and accountable answers, which I can appreciate, because right when you step into the competitive scene, it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. There is no difference. Everybody's on the same playing field. This is what you're going to do or you're not going to do. And we've seen a lot of young guys have a lot of success and be able to make a career for themselves 1, 2, 3 years of just playing competitive FIFA, and they're in completely different places in their life based on the success stories and the content and the creating things on Twitch and just the growth of their brand via being so good at FIFA.
That is so true right there, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of him, not just tomorrow, but throughout this competitive season as well. Right, it's time to have a look back at some of the action that we've seen from today, as we've got our game highlight presented by PlayStation.
And it only seems right, Kyle, that we go back to talk about the Greek Freak, because he was getting busy and he almost fell apart in this matchup, but this last goal, and we keep talking about the player lock, which is a new mechanic in FIFA 21. We got to showcase it. So this is a perfect example. So with the right analog stick, you can switch to an off-the-ball attacker. And he switched to R9 here. And R9 would normally be making that run. That's why I have the arrows showcasing where R9 would go into space. But you see he drags them closer in order to find a pocket of space. And then he's using those skills, the bridge dribble, the ball roll, the step overs into the back of the net. And that's the winner in the 116th minute. It just seems so obvious that that's got to be the PlayStation analysis play. Everything has to be on that. Congratulations to the Greek Freak, the only undefeated player left in the competition, and he earned it.
He did indeed, and we will see more of him at Championship Sunday. There's plenty more action to go tomorrow, but let's have a look back at some of the action from today, because Mike, we've seen goals, we've seen calculated matchups, we've seen these players going head to head. It's only day one, and I feel like every single tournament I say this, but the bar just keeps on raising. It just keeps on going higher and higher.
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. It's been goals galore. And I keep preaching the same message, and I'm just going to keep speaking that into existence. I want to manifest it. No clean sheets, lots of back and forth, close, tense games. I wouldn't be mad if I saw a rage quit live on stream either, just because that's relatable to me. If you get a controller break, bonus points, I will be sharing that, just because I've unfortunately also demolished quite a few controllers in my day. I have such a heavy-duty desk because the desk is always at risk.
I mean, I'm a bit worried for any rage quits. We might see some of those. Who knows what's to come on Championship Sunday? But let's have a look at our winners bracket. All of the results that have happened today so far. And we can see right here, Marcus Gomes took on Nayla AU in that first matchup. It was Nayla AU who came out on top. And then Marco took on the Greek Freak, and Greek Freak came out on top. That set up our winners final, and it was Greek Freak who came out on top of that one, goes straight through to Championship Sunday. And then we've had our losers bracket, Anezar taking on Mr. X3. Anezar goes through to round 2, where he faces Marcus Gomes, because it is double elimination. If you lose once from the winners bracket, you drop down into the losers bracket. But unfortunately for Mr. X3, it is goodbye to him, because it's now 2 losses in the competition. And then we've got Sippy FC, who took on Mark. We've just seen Mark's reaction. The smile on his face showed it all. He did win, and that sets up a matchup against Marco tomorrow. Now, Mike, we have talked about this so much. The running theme is new school versus old school. And in that losers bracket tomorrow is 2 huge matches where it's new players against the older ones.
It's more of the same. It's been a theme here. We even have the battle of the names there. Marco versus Mark. If Marco wins, does it become Little Mark? If Mark wins, does then maybe the spelling changes? You know, I don't know. I don't know what is supposed to happen there. But like, I feel that there could be something there. The Marco versus the Mark matchup I'm looking forward to. But this is inevitable. It's going to happen in the competitive scene. As players get older, it's not that they lose ability, but we talk about it a lot with your mental fortitude, your focus points, and certain games just cater more to how you play. So you could be a average pro potentially in FIFA 21 and then be a top 20 in the world or a top 10 in the world in FIFA 22. And that happens. Sometimes it's not just about you, but it's the game and what really works into how you naturally or organically flow. Not everybody is going to be able to adjust and tailor their gameplay into every single title. We've seen this happen throughout the years.
Now, Mike, you've hoped for no clean sheets. We've seen lots and lots of goals today. So let's have a quick look back at our top 5 goals of the day.
And dancing his way through and finishing. There it is again, Greek Freak. Mike mentioned it. Nayla's just done it that little bit better here tonight. This is Mbappe down that far side, still going Mbappe, cuts it back. 5 near post finishes. He got a little bit nervous when he realized the extent of the situation, and Sippy truly realizes how big of a moment this is for him. But now look at the space in behind. Anezar to finish off this game. Lovely ball roll and calm finish to complete the job. This is Ronaldo, turns back inside, lovely ball across the face, and that is the goal of the day so far. Stunning build-up.
Wow, there have been plenty of goals. That one coming in at number 1 right there, Mike, you just said it off air. That was the goal of the day. And tomorrow, hopefully we're going to see lots more goals. No clean sheets. Clean sheets can stay far away. We don't want any of those. But it's a huge day of action tomorrow.
I'm gonna come with a shirt that says anti-clean sheets, or maybe it'll just be a dirty shirt. I'll just put a dirty shirt on and be like, "That's what it means." Yeah, I didn't wash it. No clean. I don't. Maybe I should stop. I'm gonna rock all the dad puns today, and it's gonna be something we carry over till tomorrow. But the point is, more goals, and tomorrow is the make it or break it time period, where every round matters so much more to these competitors. Not that today didn't matter, but they built into that. It's gonna be intense. You're gonna have more energy. The ambiance is gonna be real, and everybody's had time now to adjust. They've played some opening games from day 1. They're going to go into day 2 and be able to say, okay, what did I do well? Where do I need to improve? Let me study on my opposition, my opponents. There's gameplay that's available.
There is indeed. Let's have a look at the schedule for day 2 here at the FIFA 21 Global Series Oceania Qualifier number 1. As we can see, it kicks off at 10:10 Central European time right there. Marcus Gomes taking on Anezar in the loser bracket round 2. And then it's the battle of the marks. It's Marco taking on Mark 11 in that loser bracket round 2. And then we have our losers bracket round 3 following those matchups. And they make their way into the loser bracket final, where Nayla AU is waiting for them. And the winner of that will take on Greek Freak in our grand final. What a day it is set to be. I am looking forward to it. I'm not going to go with the dirty t-shirt or the dirty shirt, Mike, because I like to look after my personal hygiene. You can do it, or we can just hope there's no clean sheets in game.
As long as it turns into being a FIFA cookbook of goals galore, I'm happy days with that. Give me some sort of concoction.
I am indeed as well. I hope as well that there's plenty of goals, plenty of action. And you at home, thank you for joining us here on day 1. Make sure you join us again for day 2 to see who will be crowned winner here at the Oceania region. It is the FIFA 21 Global Series Oceania Qualifier number 1. That's day 1 done, and we'll see you tomorrow.